Please take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-hosts, John Luke Garofalo and Andrew Cooper. What's up, boys?
What up?
What's up, dude?
What's up, dude?
You doing all right?
What's up, dude?
What's up, dude?
What's up, dude?
Wow. Simon's mom beats Tommy into the chat.
Oh,
Has anyone ever beat Tommy into the chat?
I think Craig did one time.
I think Maria did once too.
Wow. I'm impressed.
You're slipping, Tommy. You're slipping. If you ain't first, you're last.
They caught you slipping.
Mama Grunewald is first today. Come in, you say intro is great. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you got it. Tommy in here saying, oi, hey, oi, good morning from your boy.
Hey, sorry, Tommy, dude, but lost your crown for today.
Not a good morning for you,
Jolly
buddy.
Rancher, the chat queen today.
Better just pack it up, go back to sleep, try again tomorrow, Tommy.
Right. Take a lap, Tommy.
Take a lap.
Best you do that, Tommy. Best you do that. JL, how you doing today, my friend? How was your weekend?
Fantastic. My weekend was a weekend. It was pretty good. Can't complain.
See some family, hang out with some friends, eat some not turkey. That's all you need, right?
That's all I need. I had some delicious stuff in mashed potatoes on Friday after our show. It's fantastic. Got to hang with the nieces and nephews, my brother, my mom. It's great. Great day.
Perfect. Wonderful. Fantastic.
And we got some football this weekend.
We did get some football this weekend, and we had some football last night. There's a lot that we need to talk about today, guys, so we're going to go ahead and get right into it. It is time for Bring Your Own Breakfast. We bring the news stories. You guys bring your breakfast.
Woo.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Nice. Look at us, dude. That's fancy.
It was pretty fancy.
I like that.
What you got for us today, Coop?
You know, I had something and now I don't. So, Simon, what do you have for us?
Well, the thing that stands out most to me is we got some news yesterday about 49ers running back Elijah Mitchell. Ari Myrov tweeted out yesterday that he has suffered an MCL sprain similar to the one that he had earlier this season and is now again out 6 to 8 weeks. This is per Kyle Shanahan. So we are not going to see Elijah Mitchell back on the field this season, most likely, which sad if you drafted Elijah Mitchell. Dude, when he's on the field, has looked fantastic, even with Christian McCaffrey there. But now, does this clear things up for Christian McCaffrey fantasy managers? I know there's been the concern about him splitting work.
Yeah, it absolutely does. I know that was a big concern with Elijah Mitchell coming back, and now that he's out again, I mean, that poor dude, man. This isn't like the Shanahan curse. All these running backs getting hurt all the time. Poor Elijah Mitchell.
Now, Christian McCaffrey himself is banged up a little bit. They said they're going to manage it during the week, which means limited practices probably, or no practice at all. But keep an eye on that. I mean, who's the next man up if McCaffrey goes down? Are we back down to like Tyrion Davis-Price again? Yeah. Is it the TDP show? I mean,
I think that's right? Because they got rid of Jeff Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anyone else there.
No.
They got Mason or Jordan Mason as well on that roster.
Yes, Jordan Mason.
So it could be one of the two. Jordan Mason was the one that was active earlier in the year as opposed to TDP. TDP was healthy and active for the first couple games of the season before Elijah Mitchell was injured, and Jordan Mason was the active running back. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Now, are you guys picking up either of those two backup running backs on the 49ers?
No.
I would probably pick up TDP, Tyrion Davis-Price. If you have Christian McCaffrey, we're getting into that part of the season where, injuries happen. I mean, they've been happening all season, but, we're getting close to the playoffs. If you're a contending team, you got CMC. I wouldn't mind throwing Tyrion Davis-Price on my bench if you have the room. I'm not dropping some guy who's producing now to get him, but if you got an extra spot, go ahead, throw him on there.
Craig in the chat saying it is good for CMC until he's hurt and out, and Jordan Mason takes over. So it sounds like Craig maybe prefers some Jordan Mason to pick up.
I can't wait for those debates on Reddit when it does happen, which it will probably happen, and there will be debates. And then of course it'll probably be some random practice squad player no one's ever heard of, because that's how Shanahan rolls, right? He can never just go with the chalk.
John Klingon from the practice squad is going to come up and just score 3 touchdowns on Sunday.
Classic.
We got Maria in the chat as well. Good morning, Maria. Welcome in.
Marika.
The K slipped in there. It's all the boogers.
Morning, y'all.
Maria said it's a very blue day for y'all. Yeah, I missed the memo, guys. You could have let me know that we were wearing blue today.
Oh, I didn't know.
I wear extra blue for you. I got double blue.
Thank you.
I'm a single blue for you.
I guess this is blue. The jacket is a shade of blue.
Yeah, it is. So very, very cool by us. Speaking of injuries, unfortunately, Simon, your boy, his season has come to an end. Your sweet, sweet Moondog announced yesterday that Darnell Mooney suffered an ankle injury. We already knew about the injury, but they are going to do surgery on it. His season will be done. Any of those other Bears wide receivers jump out at you guys? I mean, I know we're going to probably have backup quarterback going on, but are you going Equanimeous St. Brown, Byron Pringle, anything?
Maybe an Equanimeous St. Brown, though, could be interesting if you're desperate at wide receiver. It's probably going to be just disgusting rest of the season in that Chicago offense.
Claypool, maybe?
Claypool is interesting. Getting he's got a few weeks now under his belt there in Chicago. He's probably a little more comfortable with that offense.
Yeah. So Darnell Mooney got hurt fairly early in the game. He only played 18 snaps. Hear how the snaps shook out among those guys. There were 57 snaps available. You got 38 from Claypool, 31 from Pringle, 23 from Dante Pettis, 23 from Equanimeous St. Brown. Mooney played 18. Velus Jones played 12. So they didn't make it easy on us there, the way they split the snaps up among the remaining guys.
Yeah. I think if I have to pick up one, I'm rolling with Claypool. The upside of a dude like Claypool is much higher than any of the other players on this team. But again, we've talked about it being such a small pie there that they're really not throwing the ball much. And if those throws are coming from Trevor Siemian or Nathan Peterman, how much upside is there really?
Yeah, but I agree with JL. I agree with both you guys. If Claypool's already owned and it's a very deep league, EQSB is the guy that's played the most snaps from that group. He obviously knows the offense pretty well, so he's probably the next guy up. If you're, in a deep league and everyone gets added anytime something like this happens, then he's the next guy I would go to. I'm not going to pick up Dante Pettis. Played that game too many times.
Yeah, we've played that game and we've lost.
The number of times I've plugged Dante Pettis into a lineup where I'm like scrolling the waiver around. I'm like, this is the week. This is the week for Dante Pettis. I feel it, and I'm never right. The worst part is he's had weeks. Like, he does have weeks where he goes out there and he's fantasy relevant.
His sophomore season, the hype train in the fantasy community was insane. He got up to like the third or fourth round based on hype alone, and then he just didn't even play. That was a rug pull if I've ever seen one.
Yeah. Yeah, that is tough. I don't know if you guys saw this. This is a kind of crazy stat that went viral about Tom Brady from this weekend. He said, heading into today, this comes from More For You Cleveland. Heading into today, Bucks QB Tom Brady was 218-0 when leading the final 2 minutes of regulation by 7+ points, including the playoffs. The Browns made that 218-1 with a win today in overtime.
Wow, dude. That's the magic of Jacoby Brissett, man.
Jacoby Brissett.
Dude, I think Jacoby might have earned himself. He definitely earned himself probably years and years of backup work at the very least, but possibly a shot to compete somewhere. I mean, he played really well and his attitude was phenomenal. And just watching the end of the game, I don't know. Did you guys see after the game? Like, it was pretty epic. Goes over, embraces Tom Brady, walks out. The crowd is loving him, dude. Like, just maybe maybe the real Deshaun Watson was the Jacoby Brissett we found along the way.
Maybe the real magic was the Jacoby Brissett we found along the way.
Friends we made
I
along the way.
wish. As a Browns fan, I have loved cheering for Jacoby Brissett. Like I have been so grateful for what that dude has done this year. I would love to see him get a shot. I would love to see him get a shot on the Browns, compete. But we know that's not going to happen with the amount of money that the Browns threw at Deshaun Watson.
With that guy, you never had. The thing is, look at Zach Wilson. Look at some of these guys. With Deshaun Watson, we heard it from Martellus Bennett directly. I've talked about it on the show. You're never going to have to doubt his character or toughness. There was a time where Jimmy G was the starter, or Jacoby Brissett was the starter, got hurt. Jimmy G went in and then got nicked up. And Jimmy G, he got cleared to play, decided he wasn't going to play. And Jacoby, even more hurt than Jimmy G, came in and played. And all the Patriots respected the hell out of that, to the point where Martellus Bennett was still talking about it this year. So, I mean, with that guy, you never have to doubt his toughness and heart. And then you look at his stats. I mean, what is he missing at this point, right?
Right. Let's see. We got some people in the chat, on the FYF chat. We got Craig in here, said, "Hola, buenos dias, cerdos y troncos." I don't know what the last part meant, but I got the first part. Morning, Craig. Good morning.
Is that something about briefs? Is he asking us boxers or briefs?
Hogs and logs is what he said.
Hogs and logs.
It's hog or pigs. Yeah, okay. I got you.
Cortos.
I was pretty close.
You were pretty close there, Simon. Maria said it's a very blue day for y'all. Pretty good. And then she said, man, it's bummer the Steelers won, and we got Adam Weber and said, "Morning, gents, got the win this week with the Pittman touchdown. Let's go."
Morning,
Adam.
Good
morning.
He also says he's got a trade offer here. I was sent Tom Brady, Dalton Schultz, and Kyren Williams for Deshaun Watson and Van Jefferson. Full PPR. Y'all think I should take that? I mean, the trades like this, Adam, we need more information. Because anytime you're trading away a tight end and not getting one back, we got to know who your other tight end is. It's impossible to kind of give you advice on a trade like that without knowing that last part. Because if you're going to do that trade and then try and wheel and deal at tight end, this is a pretty tough environment for that. So let us know what your game plan is at tight end if you're trading Schultz away. If you have somebody better than Schultz, then I feel like you got to take that trade, right?
Yeah, I will say, the value is just there in terms of the in a vacuum, not knowing what your tight end situation is.
He said he would be getting the Tom side, so he'd be getting the tight end side.
So I quietly kind of like Kyren Williams. He played 70% of the snaps. What more can you ask for in this world? In this economy?
Yeah. In this economy, Cam Akers didn't do poop.
Nah,
didn't do diddly.
Didn't hardly even played, man. And if we're the only caveat is that you really want Stafford back, because we talked about it, these mobile QBs, they don't like to dump the ball down to the running back. They don't like to dump the ball down to low A-dot players. I mean, Tyler Higbee, we were scared Tyler Higbee wasn't going to get targeted because he's a low A-dot guy with a mobile QB, and he didn't get targeted at all. 0 spot. So concerns me a little bit for Kyren Williams, but I mean, Van Jefferson, what are you expecting at him? Anything at all?
No. Not a single thing. Not I have 0 expectation for that man for fantasy. That Rams offense is going to be abysmal for the rest of the season. Just difficult to watch. And it's like this sad version of the Chiefs where there's just a bunch of wide receivers, and I don't know which one's going to be fantasy relevant, but the answer is probably none of them. As opposed to the Chiefs, where it's there's a bunch of wide receivers. I don't know which one's going to be fantasy relevant, but maybe it'll be all of them at a certain point in time over the season.
Maybe.
Van Jeff, he's a best ball player, I think. That's how I'm gonna view him next year, because he does every once in a while he does score like a 70-yard touchdown, But the question is when.
Yeah. I feel like we don't often see these disparities look this big, and obviously this is mainly due to injury and Van Jefferson being out for the beginning of the season. But his target share in the season 5.4%. Last 3 games 17%, hopping up there. Targets are there.
Well, that's because Cooper Kupp, his target share is usually 95%.
I know, right? So
he's still
trickle down economics.
He's still a top 5 wide receiver right now, Cooper Kupp in PPR. And what's crazy is I was kind of looking at it, and I saw like a meme of like next week when he falls into the top 10, he might not even fall out of the top 10. Like he's in full PPR. He still has like 13 more points than the guy that's in 6th place. So if Jalen Waddle or CeeDee Lamb just have normal weeks, Cooper Kupp could remain a top 5 wide receiver. That's how good that guy is. That's crazy to me.
It'll be like Derrick Henry last year, finishing like top 10 in rushing yards, even though he only played 8 games.
Derrick Henry is so much fun to watch, bro.
Oh my God, so much fun.
The term "shot out of a cannon" is overused, but with Derrick Henry, that's the example of it. When you say the word "shot out of a cannon," watch him just run the ball up the middle, dude. It literally looks
crazy.
Like they put him in like a cartoonish slingshot and just like.
It's like I was watching it this weekend. I just kept thinking over and over again, like he gets momentum and he just looks unstoppable. It's wild. Like he's so big and his legs are so long that he like. It takes him like a little bit to get that initial speed up, but once he does, the dude is like a barrel just going down the field. It is insane.
The number of times we've seen him just hit not even a hole, just hit straight through. Like he makes it look like there's a hole, but then you watch the replay and he made the hole. Like he just ran straight through, get 10 yards in the backfield, and he just powered straight through.
What's funny is you can tell defenders almost don't want to hit him because he's so big and he's going so fast that he almost like gracefully kind of falls into the end zone when he falls into a tackle. It's not like a hard tackle because he's so massive. That's probably unlike anything I've seen.
That's probably how Ben Jones ended up injured, just getting run over by Derrick Henry from behind. Right?
You can tell they're just like, they're just trying to like fall in front of him.
Right. I like Dylan Rad, dude. You get in the locker room after the game and they all have like cleat marks on their back. They're just getting run over by Derrick Henry.
He signs it after the game.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Dylan Radunes and I'm like a rookie, I'm like, yeah, run me over and sign my jersey, dude. I'll take that.
Run me over.
We'll call it my rookie bonus. I think
an
it's
investment
my contract somewhere.
Yeah, for real though.
And Adam did come in and give us a little bit more context here. He just said game plan is I would start Kittle and Shits at flex. I think he meant Schultz. Schultz at flex. So he has Kittle.
Shits.
I think he meant shit.
Dude, I hate doing that in regular in normal leagues. I really don't like starting 2 tight ends unless they're Kelsey and Andrews because you feel obligated to do it, right? It gives you no flexibility to like if you have RBs and wide receivers at the flex, you can move them in and out of your wide receiver 2 spot, RB 2 spot. You are just so stuck in doing that. So I don't know if I love that.
I'm keeping put where you are, Adam. If I'm you, just keep Deshaun Watson. That he's a big upgrade over Tom Brady for fantasy purposes. Yeah. And you already have Kittle. I just don't think it's really worth the Schultz ad here.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah. I'm with you guys on that front. Did you guys see that 2-time Pro Bowl running back Melvin Gordon is expected to sign with the Chiefs practice squad? He was released by Denver last week. This came from Tom Pelissero breaking this. We can see Melvin Gordon, practice squad player over on the Kansas City Chiefs. You picking him back up or you leaving him out there on the waiver wire?
I'm picking him up, man. Melvin Gordon on the Chiefs is RIP Pacheco season.
You never know with those situations. One injury too. Like he might not even get called up right away, but that's probably what he's banking on. He's banking on one injury and I'm on the roster. I mean, I'll tell you, even practice squad players get rings. So pad that resume a little bit.
Is that true? If you're on the practice squad, you get a ring?
It's the discretion of the team. The team decides who gets rings, but the practice squad players, if you're on the team when they win, you almost always get a ring. I mean, they usually give rings to guys that even if you get traded like midseason or cut midseason, they usually give those guys rings too. I mean,
I didn't know that.
Some teams go crazy with the rings. I know Belichick sometimes has done, like janitors are getting rings. Like anybody.
Oprah, it's just like the Oprah of Super Bowl rings.
You get a ring. You get a ring. Yeah. No, it really, it's the discretion of the team who gets a ring or not. But yeah, I think in most cases, anybody that's practicing with and playing with the team every day gets a ring.
I feel like the ultimate trash talk would be if a player got traded and then played their OG team in the Super Bowl, lost, and then that OG team sent them a Super Bowl ring for being on the team
absolute
earlier in the year.
disrespect.
Like that would be the top tier trash talk. It wouldn't get more trash talk than that. Like, oh, here's your ring. Remember that game?
That would be top tier petty.
You got to put that ring on eBay immediately, dude. You can't keep that cursed item in your house. You know that thing's definitely filled with curses.
Does the team pay fully for the ring?
All the teams are owned by billionaires, so
doesn't mean that they're going to buy diamond rings for everybody.
Joe, it's like when you put a quarter in the gumball machine and take it out. Like it's the same thing, but you bought 30 gumballs or 100 gumballs, and like maybe it took a little bit. You had to scrounge up some quarters, but you're not even gonna think about it tomorrow.
You're right.
Look at all the gum you have. I designed a ring at the
hey, you know what, Chael? Wasn't a dumb question. Because I actually just, instead of just giving you a snarky response like I did, and Simon immediately jumped in there and so jumped on top of you with the snarkiness, I just looked it up instead. And the NFL does contribute some, and then you're responsible for the rest. So
the players responsible for the rest?
No, not the players. I think the team picks it up. But it's like, so the NFL has a budget for it. So it looks like the NFL contributed $7,000 per ring for up to 150, and then the team can deck them out beyond that. And the Rams ones looks like have been estimated to have a final cost of between 30 and 50,000. And I'm not sure if you saw the Rams ones, but like it's the most elaborate thing I've ever seen. They literally open up, and there's a little field made of diamonds inside of it, like a full football field. Yeah,
it's so extra, but it's so lit.
Out of control, dude. So, but yeah, so apologies to you, JL, for jumping all over you there, even though it's funny. The league does give, well, so let's see. And 150 rings means that all the coaches are getting them, all the players, practice squad, and probably some people, like the team deacon, all those guys probably getting rings too.
Team deacon?
Yeah, JL, let me adjust my metaphor. Imagine you go to a gumball machine and someone hands you a nickel, and then you put a quarter in. That's about what we're looking at.
That's
here.
Okay. I see.
So yeah, that's basically it. Yeah. So it sounds like
now I understand.
If my math is correct, the league gives you like $1 million towards the rings, and then the owner of the team spent between like $5 million and $7 million more dollars to do it, which to these guys is whatever, dude.
Wow. That's wild. I want to ring
absurd amounts of money. I remember the one time Tim and I made our way into the Clemson trophy room one night when it just happened to be unlocked, and they had all the rings just sitting there on pedestals. I was like, these are so cool. What I wouldn't give for one of these besides the cost of one.
Anything else though?
Squirrel Bob in the chat. Morning,
Squirrel Bob.
What up, Squirrel Bob? Welcome in, my friend. We had a question from Tommy in here. Tommy wanted to know, do you guys think Pickett could be the answer in Pittsburgh? Was getting some pretty high praise from Troy Aikman. What do you guys think? Can Pickett be the answer? Have you seen enough from him to have optimism?
He looked decent yesterday. I mean, he didn't look fantastic. But there were a few plays where, his throws were on point. So, I think you have to have that at least that level of talent to be able to play in the NFL, to be a starter in the NFL. Whether he's a long-term solution will, I think, depend on his development. I don't think he's there yet. And I think whether he stays a starter will depend on whether he takes a step up this offseason.
Yeah, I just now thought, just to backtrack real quick, we probably should have asked Tommy about the rings because he's like the
collectible guy.
He's like collectible aficionado. He says even the broadcasters get one. So yeah, sounds like they're pretty liberal. Pretty liberal with the rings. Yeah, they get. I guess they get one.
Like no matter what, no matter which side they're on. Like it doesn't matter. They don't have a side.
Super Bowl ends, a ring just hits him in the head. Oh, sick.
Oh,
go
wow.
But yeah, Kenny Pickett, man. Like, I don't know. The sample size is too small to judge him one way or another. But the guy's thrown 3 touchdown passes. He's thrown 1 touchdown pass over the last 4 games. He did not throw a touchdown pass last night. He threw for 174 yards. So it's hard to sit back and look at that game and be like, yeah, this is it. This is the guy. We need to see a bigger sample size of these guys. And we're so quick to jump on these guys every single time. We really have to give them 2 or 3 years at least. Let him play at least part of the rookie contract. Kenny Pickett's going to have a 5th-year option available to him after the 3rd year. I think that's how long a window you get. 3 years. If they don't pick up your 5th-year option, that's when we start saying maybe they move on from the guy. But I mean, this is a difficult game. The guy's like 21 years old. Give him a chance first. And that's coming from somebody who continues to mention the fact that he has 3 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, despite playing pretty much the entire year.
Yeah.
Gross. Yeah.
For that.
I haven't seen anything from him that makes me go like, absolutely, this guy will be a future star. But I'm with you, Coop. You got to wait. It is a big change shifting from college ball to the NFL. And they kept trying to talk about yesterday on the broadcast, how the speed of the game isn't a problem for him. The speed of the game isn't a problem for him. No, it is. He's a rookie quarterback adjusting to the speed of the NFL. I guarantee you it's a problem for him, no matter how smart of a QB he is out there. It takes time to adjust. We'll see if he can get it together, but I'm not as sold as Troy Aikman is comparing him to Steve Young and Aaron Rodgers out there. I'm not quite ready to throw those level of comparisons at Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, that's a bit much. That is a bit much. I don't know if you guys mentioned this yesterday before I woke up, but Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson said running back Travis Etienne was cleared to return to the game yesterday or the day before with his foot injury, but he decided to hold him out not to risk it. They were planning to do more tests, but Etienne said he was fine, and the team thought so too. And it looks like they're planning to fire him up this week. No issues.
I like everything about that. Right?
That's great.
I like that they held him out, because it's not like you're just going to do a CAT scan or MRI right there. Maybe they do have that technology, but you want to make sure everything's good in there. And then the fact that they did all that and he's cleared to go, straight bone. Because we got too many injuries right now. They're taking away too many of our nice things.
Too many of our nice things. Yeah, this is. I mean, it's a bummer. I lost a couple fantasy matchups because of him being held out, but I would much rather him be healthy than them force him out there. He gets injured. We've seen that time and again too, where teams force these players in when they're not feeling great and they end up getting hurt. Prime example being, I always bring up Sammy Watkins at Buffalo.
Yeah, poor Sammy, dude.
Yeah, with his foot injury, they had forced him to play.
Now, speaking of the Jaguars, did you see what Andrew Wingard said, the safety?
No.
Oh, so good, dude. He goes, and this is an active player, Andrew Wingard, on the team, in the locker room after the game. I'm so happy for Trevor because he had to deal with Urban Meyer last year. I would die for Doug Peterson. I swear. I love that guy.
That's hilarious.
That's a good clip, dude. That's a great clip. Yeah.
Who said that?
I love that. Andrew Wingard. He's a safety for the Jaguars.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So the active player said that he had to deal with Urban Meyer last year. Wingard also had to deal with Urban Meyer, right?
You know who else was talking up Trevor Lawrence? Wait, that was who he was talking about, right? Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah. He says I'm happy. Well, he said I'm happy for Trevor Lawrence because but who he was really talking up was Coach Doug Peterson.
Right. I saw a quote yesterday from Calais Campbell, defensive end for the Baltimore Ravens, who was basically saying this is what you're going to expect from Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence just showed everybody what he's got in that game this weekend. And absolutely, we've been saying it for a while now. Trevor Lawrence is not a bust, man. You don't find that talent just anywhere.
Yeah,
except in Jacksonville.
Except in Jacksonville. That's where you find it.
Yeah. Used to be in Clemson, but now it's in Jacksonville pretty consistently.
Let me ask you guys something.
Yeah.
You're in Jacksonville. You know what? Never mind. I'm going to save this for hypothetically.
No, that is my least favorite thing. Now I just have to sit here and wonder what you were going to say to me for the next, however many
30 minutes. 30
and
minutes.
Now, starting our next segment, hypothetically. Yeah, kick us off with our first prop.
Start it now.
No.
Tommy in the chat saying your best shot at a ring is head groundskeeper or locker room staff.
There's
still hope. Dude, head groundskeeper, good luck. That's probably a pretty sought after job at an NFL stadium to be the head groundskeeper.
Absolutely, dude.
Oh my God. I would kill all that grass. There's not a chance in hell that I would not get fired.
Yeah,
my yard
lawn's
is a
not doing so
literal
good.
mud. It's a mud pit. I killed every blade of grass in my yard, and it is just either like a dusty dirt pit or a mud pit, depending on the last time it rained.
So you could still work for Washington.
Yeah, I can still work for the Commanders, but that's about
That's
it.
about
That's
it.
all. That's all I got. Dustin, what's up? Welcome in, my man. Glad to have you here. And he's saying,
That's
"Oh,
not
almighty YouTube chat moderators, I pray that you will grant me leniency today, like the Steelers have had with Kenny Pickett, and not put me in timeout like Zach Wilson." Amen. We'll see. I like your little prayer, though. I like your little prayer. Do you think Zach Wilson's going to end up back out on the field, guys? We're going to see him starting games again this year.
I think I don't think he's done in this league, man. He's got the thing is, even if his attitude isn't great or whatever, he still has a skill set that is just better, flat out better than Mike White's. People always dog him for how much he scrambles around and runs around, but his elusive ability is a plus. He just needs to harness the proper use of that. At the end of those, you got to stop, running out of bounds or like throwing an interception. But he does have the skill set. He just needs to get the attitude. So I don't think this is the end of Zach Wilson.
I don't think so either. He's a second overall pick.
Yeah.
That draft capital is going to be with him for a long time. He's going to get chance after chance after chance.
Yes. Someone else will give him a shot. Whether it pans out or not, I don't know, but someone else will give him another shot.
Yeah.
Even Josh Rosen got another shot.
That's exactly what I was going to say. We saw him get a couple shots, but they were pretty quick to move on with all of his shots, it seemed like.
With Josh Rosen?
With Josh Rosen. Like, we've seen this flame.
He was pretty bad. But I think he was much worse than Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
They said it coming in
as well, right?
Yeah. They said it coming in that like he had some quotes that were on the record of him basically saying like, well, football isn't everything, and I want to, I study this and I'm really into this stuff, and coaches do not want to hear that. There's a lot of things that people like normal people think you want to hear, like that. Oh, I live a balanced life. Coaches do not want to hear that. They want to hear that football and the Lord are the two things you care about, and then your family next. But they want
your break,
but
family.
Right. Yeah, they're asking you like some of the questions I've heard that they ask these players in the interviews are like insane. Like I remember hearing that a team asked somebody like, "Oh, if you were to have a son or daughter, would you play that week?" You know what I mean? It's like such an intrusive question, but they're just trying to, and not that they're going to make their decision on that, but they just want to hear you respond to a question like that. It's kind of crazy that some of the questions that I've heard players come out and say, "I can't believe they asked me this." You know what I mean?
My answer would be no, or it would be yes, and I'd be lying.
Right. Well, that's the thing is, it's probably with a question like that, they probably don't care about the answer. They care about how you answer it. Like if you come out and say, "Hey, family first, I'm gonna, be with my family," then they might look at that and say, "Great answer." You know what I mean? But if you sit there and try and make something up or lie about it, then they're gonna dog you. That's why those interviews are crazy, apparently.
If I was giving birth, I'm not sure I would ever play in the NFL again. I'd be rich. I'd go on Oprah. I'd go on all the daily talk shows. Like that would be a medical marvel if I was giving birth.
I feel like nowadays it's 2022, Simon. Like that's not even like a cool thing. Like I feel like everyone that's old hat. There's plenty of dudes that have been having kids. I've seen it online.
You're right.
They already had that guy on Oprah,
Yeah.
I think. They're not going to do it again. Another pregnant man.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Yeah, I guess you could run it back. I don't think you could just coast on that, though. I think you'd be better off with your NFL job.
Maybe another 2 years and a couple concussions over that. We got an update on Steelers running back Najee Harris. This one came from Deepak Chona. He said the concern is that he has a hernia, and that could mean surgery and shut down for the rest of the season, but with full return to form at the start of the 23 season. There's less severe possibilities in play, but that one, if it is a hernia, could end up being a big deal that he would have to miss the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a bummer.
Yeah, with those, but if it is that assessment's right, because we've seen guys have like, that surgery with like the mesh or whatever, and then they come back next year in full. Like I think Marshawn Lynch had his best season after having that surgery. Adrian Peterson had that surgery, and we didn't even talk about it because like he had so many other surgeries, and he came back, had a great season. So I don't think it's that particular surgery is like a lingering thing, but it would shut him down for this year.
If Najee Harris misses time, is Benny Snell the guy that you're picking up? He had 12 carries yesterday with Najee Harris missing some of that game.
Yeah.
He's got to be. And
what's the latest on Jaylen Warren?
Well, he was ruled out against playing against the Colts. I'm not sure when he's expected to be back.
If he's back, it'd probably be Jaylen Warren over Benny Snell, but Benny Snell, if both those guys are out, obviously, would be the guy.
Yeah. I think you should try and stash Jaylen Warren in an IR or out spot if you can.
It looks like he's dealing with a hamstring. That's not great.
I don't like that.
Any interest in Anthony McFarland? He looked all right in his limited work. He only got 6 carries, but he did not look bad. 2 targets as well.
I don't think the coaching staff has a ton of confidence in him. I mean, the fact that that they didn't give him the most carries yesterday speaks a lot, right? I mean, suddenly thrust into a situation where your starter goes down, and this is what they did, right? This is how they responded. So to me, that is it's very telling. I think Snell is the next guy up.
Yeah, and Jaylen Warren already surpassed Anthony McFarland on the depth chart because McFarland is that kind of like pass down guy, or that's what he served as the past couple of years. But then Jaylen Warren was playing most of his snaps on pass downs, so he pretty much leapfrogged him on the depth chart. So if Warren's back, I'm not interested in McFarland at all, and I don't know when you would start Anthony McFarland. That's the thing.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. You guys see this? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
A pretty crazy stat about Russell Wilson, just how bad Russell Wilson's been. This comes from Andrew Mason on Twitter. He said Russell Wilson has had an ESPN QBR 29 at Carolina. That's 27th of 28 eligible QBs so far this week. His season-long QBR is 32.5, which is 30th out of 32 eligible QBs. And he just goes by week. And in the last 3 weeks, 21.8, 29.9, 29 as his QBR. That's awful.
Yeah, this is that. It's really getting concerning that it's getting worse because you would expect, new team, new playbook, new coach, that it would early on he would struggle. But the fact that it's getting worse is that's big red flag town.
Right. And then PFF Sam tweeted out Carson Wentz has 2 more passing touchdowns than Russell Wilson this season, and he hasn't played since week 6. And he's been benched.
And he's still, update from the TikTok guy, I saw it yesterday. He has now thrown 8 touchdown passes and still has 12 bathrooms in his house. So he still has more bathrooms in his house than touchdown passes he's thrown this season.
That's my favorite one.
That bit could keep going all the way until still.
Right? Dude started it in week 1, and he just keeps it going every single week. That's what you just got to start 1 million bits week 1 and then just keep rolling with the ones that work. Like put 1 million bits out there, and then whichever ones work, just keep rolling with those ones.
It's the way to do it.
Well, I mean, so it's crazy what you can get famous for. There was that guy that was drawing Mike Trout every day, right? Ended up with like 1 million followers. Do you guys remember that?
Or
the Jimmy G.
The Jimmy G person started out because of the Mike Trout one, and now the Jimmy G person's famous. Like, you just copy somebody that's doing something cool. But the Mike Trout one went for so long, and Mike Trout was like retweeting him and stuff. So that one got pretty deep.
Tommy said Wilson retires, Brady retires. Where does Aaron Rodgers go? I don't know, a sketchy zoo. Like, as he's driving down the road in rural Wisconsin, he sees a billboard that's like, it's like nature zoo. Know what I mean? Like, it's just like 2 words they put together and exit now. And he gets off. I feel like Rodgers stops
Phil in a cage.
Exactly. And Aaron Rodgers is all about those.
I feel like Rodgers is probably done after this year, man. Just based on the comments that did it for me were the ones from Devontae Adams, where he was like, I talked to Aaron Rodgers, and I know kind of what his plans are, and I plan for playing for a longer time. That makes me feel like that he has some inside info that Rodgers is probably going to call it this year. Yeah.
I believe it. It's not been pretty for him so far, and you're right. Even outside of the Devontae Adams quotes, what Aaron Rodgers has been saying doesn't sound like a guy who's pumped and ready to go to come back for next year.
It's like Brady and Rodgers; they got nothing left to prove. Honestly, like, if they wanted to call it quits, they're both Hall of Famers. Who cares?
Russell Wilson's not going to retire, though. I don't think so.
No, of course
like, not after this year. He wants to come back and prove that this was like a good move, that he's going to kill it for the Broncos. I can't see him retiring.
got many millions of reasons why he should not retire.
And they can't cut him or trade him with the way that contract is structured.
Yeah. They're stuck with him.
He is uncuttable and untradeable for like 3 or 4 years. They just can't do it. They can't afford to do it.
He'll
So it'll
probably
be
be
his
his decision.
decision.
He'll probably be good. I'll call it right now that this offense next year, they're gonna have another offseason to get things together. Might have to move some pieces around if they got guys like Melvin Gordon in there that don't have the same attitude, but you surround Russell Wilson with enough similar guys. We've seen it in Seattle. He can play well. I mean, I think he could be back.
Yeah. Tommy said he's been a tomato this year. I mean, Depends who's asking. Depends who's saying it. Do you like tomatoes or do you not like tomatoes?
Do you guys think it's more likely that they fire Hackett and bring someone else in? Like put all the blame on Hackett, bring someone else in to try and turn the ship around. Maybe not this season, maybe after the season, but rather than getting rid of Russell Wilson as the issue, getting rid of Hackett as the issue, because it's probably cheaper.
I don't know if I'd get rid of Hackett after 1 year, though. I think both those guys, you got to give them a little bit longer leash to turn things around, install the things that they want to do. It's tough to turn things around overnight.
But this is, I mean, look at what Dable did. Look at what Peterson has done, right? Like the Broncos have been firmly in the press, media constantly. And I feel like the public pressure could force it. I agree with you, Q. I think they should give them more time. But I'm wondering if this public pressure forces the hand of these owners.
I will say to your point, JL, that, I mean, it's John Elway, dude. He kind of does what, he has a lot of influence over there. And if any organization would be one to make rash and quick decisions, this one might be one. So I don't think it's out of the question. Yeah, I'm saying what I personally wouldn't do it, but I think you're right, JL. It is on the table.
I think
cut Melvin Gordon for playing a song.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, let's not rule anything out here.
That's wild. I keep forgetting that story. Just absolutely absurd. Are there any songs that he's not allowed to play at the Chiefs? Like who's Patrick Mahomes like on the no playlist in the Chiefs locker room?
Probably can't play any of his like little brother's TikTok stuff.
That's the only thing. Yeah, you do not play Miss Piggy songs in the locker room. That's a step too far.
I'm trying to think of some songs that would be banned for certain teams. Like if you come in the Patriots locker room playing that Meek Mills song the Eagles are playing when they beat the Patriots, I don't know if that would be warmly received. Although that song "Dreams and Nightmares" kind of dope.
I don't know. Now that Robert Kraft and Meek Mill buddy.
Boys. They're like boys, dude. Did you see
it might be okay.
Meek Mill bought him a chain when he helped him get out of jail.
That's awesome.
That's rich people stuff.
That's rich people stuff for sure.
Absolutely absurd. Guys, coming up, we are going to talk about this Monday Night Football game that happened last night and take a peek at the results of the prop bets. We've got our waiver wire simulator coming up a little bit later, and we're going to play some hypothetically as well. We'll be telling you about players that blew up this week. Is it a fact or is it a flash? And as always, guys, if you have questions, throw them in the chat. We'd be more than happy to answer your questions throughout the show today. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Join Corey Nando and friends, presented by Mayo Media, weekdays at 3 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
Darren Ravel's here.
I love tickets, man. That is my bet. I have a very hard time selling many of them, even if I know I'm going to make a ton of money. I just love the idea of the stories that tickets tell.
Darren, that's interesting because I got a ticket I was at Nats Park the night when Albert Pujols hit his 400th home run. And I remember saying to myself, I'm going to save the ticket, but I don't know where. I can't find it. And then when you mentioned
that's exactly the problem.
Yeah.
Not only to the people who say they're, because you didn't have a bulletin. Like, it's unlike cards, right? There's no place to put it naturally. Is it in your wallet? Is it in your shoebox? Is it on a bulletin board? Like, that's been the problem. Like, I have tickets that I got that, like, you could literally tell. I have one right here. The Jimmy Connors, Aaron Crickstein match. right? The 5-setter. And you can literally tell that this was put on a bulletin board. You know, that's how it was saved. There's dots in there. But even the kids outside the ballpark that had the great idea as entrepreneurs to say, I'm going to ask people for $5, will you sell me the ticket? Those guys couldn't even hold on long enough for this market to hit. Like, those guys had the foresight and it still didn't work. So that's part of the complexity of tickets, which are so cool.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
We are joined by a very special guest now. We've got sports radio legend. We have Scott Farrell with us.
You know, it's weird. I'm not a collector of, sports memorabilia.
Yeah.
The only things I've said on the air that I've ever kept in my life were, I have millions of jerseys and all that nonsense, but I have 50 years of Sports Illustrated magazines, and I had the Len Dawson autograph. I have Lemieux autograph pictures, because I'm good friends with Mario Lemieux. And I also have valuable pictures of Bill Mazeroski hitting the Game 7 1960 World Series 9th inning home run to beat the Yankees. So I'm a Pirate fan for life, but I love the Yankees too, because I've lived in New York for 25 years now. My favorite player my whole life, though, strangely enough, my entire life was George Brett of the Royals. I love George Brett from the day I saw him play. Back in the day when guys actually hit close to 400 every year, instead of these guys making 50 million hitting 210 with 5 home runs. All the wussies in Major League Baseball today, they're not like they used to play. Back in the day, guys like George Brett, Rod Carew, Pete Rose, those guys.
I don't know how many 98 mile an hour sliders those boys were seeing back then.
Well, listen, if you hit 300 every year of your career and you're in Cooperstown, I don't want to hear it.
Better Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. It's in the game.
Auto game.
Oh! Ooh, that one got a little spicy on my end. I'm sorry, guys. We've been
pretty bad at those lately. I was not ready at all either time.
No, it hasn't been great. Guys, we had some questions come in the chat that I wanted to make sure we got to. Big Trev in here. What's up, Big Trev? Good morning, my friend. He said Watson or Trevor Lawrence this week. So Deshaun Watson back in his debut going up against his former team, the Houston Texans, or Trevor Lawrence. And the Jaguars are playing the Lions this week. So we've got Trevor Lawrence against the Lions or Deshaun Watson against the Texans.
Deshaun
Where you guys
Watson,
going,
bro? Sorry, Deshaun Watson. I didn't hold Deshaun Watson in my fantasy leagues all this time not to start him against the Texans. There are very few quarterbacks I'd start over Deshaun Watson this week.
Well, to be fair, a lot of people probably picked him up in the last couple of weeks.
If they did, then I didn't hold him the last couple of weeks to not start him against the Texans.
That's completely fair.
Getting him in there, get him in the lineup. That guy has the biggest chip on his shoulder you could possibly have. Whether you believe him or not, like, he's going to come out and he believes him, and he's been probably doing nothing but focusing on football and getting ready for this moment. He wants to come out and obliterate this team. There's no question in my mind. Like, the narrative here, if you want to go down narrative street, this dude probably wants nothing more than to beat this team by 50 points.
Yeah, maybe I'm a little bit more nervous just because it's been 2 years, and that's probably why I don't have Deshaun Watson on any of my teams, because I didn't feel comfortable picking him up and then playing him right away. That being said, I think the most likely outcome is that he's good for fantasy football, that you're going to plug him in and he's going to be the quarterback that we've seen previously. But Trevor Lawrence is a good enough option, especially in a plus matchup against the Detroit Lions, that I think I would just start Trevor Lawrence. But again, that's why I don't have any Deshaun Watson on any of my teams. I haven't picked him up anywhere for that reason. I think the most likely outcome is that it's good, but I'm going to avoid it if possible.
Yeah, both matchups are positive this week. We got Jacksonville against Detroit, Cleveland against Houston. I think both of these guys are great plays this week. I'd probably, if I just need that explosive win, I think I'd go with Deshaun Watson like Coop. But honestly, either guy is good this week.
I don't blame you guys.
That being said, I would love to see the Texans come out and beat Deshaun Watson this week.
That would be wild.
This game is going to be a nightmare from an announcing perspective. Just like it's going to be all narrative street the entire time. They're not going to be able to stop talking about it. We'll see. We'll see what's going on there. We had another question come in here in the chat. JHI wanted to know who's the running back to pick up for week 13 with Najee out, Warren or Snell. So we were talking a little bit about this earlier. Coop, which one is it for you?
So if they're going to go right into your lineup, then it has to be Benny Snell. Because if you need to make that decision today, unless we get some news today, keep your ear to those Twitter streets to see if they're saying Jalen Warren's going to be ready to play. If he is, I like Warren. But if we don't get news by the end of today that suggests Warren is going to play and you have to put somebody in your lineup, then it should be Benny Snell. I like Warren long term if Najee's out the whole year because Warren plays the pass snaps and that's what I expect out of him. But again, it's like you can't trust him to be healthy. I mean, we don't even know Jalen Warren might miss multiple games as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's Benny Snell if you're picking someone up to play, Coop. That's what I would do. Joe, what about you?
Yep, I'm with you guys.
Now, if it's just a pure bench stash, like if you're just trying to add somebody and you plan to start other players, then it's Jalen Warren, right? I think we kind of talked about that earlier where pretty much every format that we play is some sort of PPR. And even in standard, targets are more valuable than carries. So give me the guy playing the pass plays. That's Jalen Warren.
JHI in here following up on the Deshaun Watson question, asking, are we going Lamar Jackson over Deshaun Watson this week? So Deshaun Watson, like we mentioned, going up against the Houston Texans. Coop, you said there were very few quarterbacks who would start over him. What about Lamar Jackson against the Broncos this weekend? Are you starting him or Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, I think I would still start Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I'd still go Lamar.
Yeah. So there's the guys I would definitely start over him are like Mahomes, Josh Allen. Well, hey, why don't we do this right now? Why don't we get this out of the way right now? Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, starting all those guys, right? Those four.
Yep.
We just said Lamar Jackson. So that's 5. Would you start Joe? Did I say Justin Herbert?
You did not.
So Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson. That would be 5. Would you start Joe Burrow or Deshaun Watson?
Joe Burrow. He's been on a tear.
Would you start Tua or Deshaun Watson?
Tua.
I think I'd start Tua. I think I'd start Tua as well.
San Francisco.
Would you start Dak Prescott against the Colts?
Dak Prescott.
Yeah, Dak.
That's where it's close. That's where it's close for me, but I'll start Dak just because he's been playing. Would you start Geno Smith?
I'd start Deshaun.
I would start Deshaun over Geno Smith as well.
That's around where that line is for me. The Geno Smith, Kyler Murray area of quarterback. I think I still would start Geno Smith and Kyler Murray above him, but I think that's going to be the last two.
I'm not starting Kyler.
Yeah. Are you start Kyler, you said?
Kyler's on bye week. Kyler's on a bye week.
Well, then not this week.
Next week. Well, next week we'll have more answers. Next week it's not as fun of a question.
True. Yeah. We'll see what Deshaun Watson puts
But
up this week. I mean, it's against Houston, so we got to take that.
But Simon can't take it back. He said he'd start a quarterback and getting 0 points this week. So
that's true.
Tom Brady or Derek Carr? Would you start any of these guys over Deshaun Watson? Tom Brady, Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, Jimmy G?
Nope.
Agreed. So yeah, Trevor Lawrence and Geno Smith are probably right where that line is because Trevor Lawrence is in that mix too.
See Jedi in the chat said, "Good morning, guys. Good morning, Jedi. Welcome."
What up, Jedi? Glad to have you in here, my friend. And then we had a question from Jeff. Want to know who do you feel is the best at the flex this week? We've got Josh Palmer, George Pickens, Cordero Patterson, and Rashad White. So those are the players that we're looking at here. JL, which one of those would you prefer in your flex?
It would probably be Leonard Fournette. If Leonard Fournette is out again, I'd probably go Rashad White. Pickens looked good last night. Who's Pittsburgh playing? Pittsburgh's playing Atlanta.
Yeah.
He's pretty interesting. And Palmer is going to really depend on Keenan and Mike Williams, their status this week as we go through the week. As of right now, I think Rashad White would be the flex.
It's Rashad White, dude. He got 9 targets. Like, if you told me any of those players are going to get 9 targets, I would start them. And if it's the running back, then I'm definitely starting him.
Even if Leonard Fournette's back?
If Leonard Fournette's back, then you gotta adjust. But I don't think Leonard Fournette is supposed to be back. But Rachaad White, man, I might even start Rachaad White even if Leonard is back. He looked good, man. If he had scored a touchdown, we'd all be freaking out, but he didn't. So it's like, he still had 100 yards from scrimmage, 14 carries, 9 receptions. Doesn't get much better than that.
And it's still a tough matchup against the New Orleans Saints, but I'm with you guys. I think I'm still rolling out Rachaad White, even with the tough matchup. Now, if Mike Williams or Keenan Allen is out, which I'm expecting Mike Williams not to play, we'll see what the status is. It's not a bad matchup against the Raiders for Josh Palmer either. So I think you got a couple good options there, but I'm rolling Rachaad White as well. And then Adam wanted to know, will Jordan Mason or TDP be the better pickup with the Mitchell CMC injury? So, JL, which one of those guys would you prefer to pick up?
I would go Tyrion Davis Price. He'd be the pickup for me if you're going to get a guy to back up CMC here with Elijah Mitchell being out.
Coop, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. We at least have seen TDP come in and play. Haven't really seen a ton of Jordan Mason. I'm going to pull up the route running numbers real quick though, just to double check that. So,
yeah, I think I'm with you guys. It's going to be TDP for me as well. Guys, we had a prop bet draft yesterday that I wanted to run through the results of. Actually, before we do that, we had a prop bet draft from last Friday that we ran through. The jail we held off on yesterday because you were not on here with us. But we can run through the results of that one real quick. I got it pulled up over here. So this was all for Week 12 games over the weekend, the Sunday slate of games. JL, you selected Patrick Mahomes over 2.5 passing touchdowns. Bonk. You did not have over 2.5 passing touchdowns. You also selected Broncos minus 1.5 versus the Panthers. They did not cover that 1.5 point spread against the Panthers. Bonk. And then you also selected Russell Wilson over 18.5 completions. And he had 19 completions. So you got that one right. You got one right. So, JL, nice job there. I selected Deonta Foreman under 57.5 rush yards. Mega bonk. He had way more than 57.5. I took Terry McLaurin over 60.5 receiving yards in that beautiful matchup against the Falcons. Bonk. Nothing there. And then I took Nick Chubb under 74.5 rushing yards, and oh boy, did he beat that. Just absolutely demolished it. The triple bonk for me from this Sunday's game.
Triple bonk.
The elusive. Actually, it's not even that elusive. It's pretty easy when it comes to prop bets to get triple bonked.
You took a Jeff Wilson anytime touchdown, and he got one, so that one hit. You also took a Rachaad White anytime touchdown. That one did not hit. But your last prop, George Kittle, under 45.5 receiving yards, did hit.
Damn it.
Coop, with 2 correct, you are our champion from the weekend prop bet draft. Nice job, my friend.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. So I get to pick a scenario for you guys here.
Are we answering questions in the impersonation? Was that the change?
That was what we said. We're going to answer a question in the impersonation of your choice. So whenever we have questions come in, you got to make your answer in that.
He just came in with a question for me, so this is perfect.
All right. So here's what I want. Here's what I want you guys to do. I'll even let you guys pick because I've had a thought in my mind here. Which one of you guys is confident in doing a Morgan Freeman?
I could do Morgan Freeman.
I absolutely cannot. So I would love it if you took that one, Jail.
All right,
I just watched a documentary with him narrating it. It's the only reason I immediately jumped to say I could.
All right. So you're Morgan Freeman, and Simon, you're gonna be. Let's see. Any suggestions in the chat for Simon to be?
Someone said Coop, but that was 18 minutes ago. So I don't think that was I don't think that was a suggestion.
Simon, I would like you to be Patrick Mahomes. So, AKA Kermit the Frog. So here's how this is going to work. Simon is going to answer the question, and then JL is going to be the narrator, who is Morgan Freeman, talking about what's going through Simon's head when he picks the player.
Okay, wait. So say it one more time.
So Simon is going to answer the question as briefly if possible, and then JL comes in as the narrator, who's Morgan Freeman, explaining why Simon picked that part of the question, why Simon picked that answer. So basically, Simon's the main character. You're the narrator that is kind of doing the voiceover for his decisions here. So make sure, let's get some questions in the chat here. We got to get a few of those coming in. I love
we got a question in there, right?
Yeah, let's start. Yeah, let's get that one going.
But that one was for JL, but I can jump in there, and then JL, you have to narrate what's going on in there.
Well, that's the thing is that you're the main character here, so you're Simon and JL. This question for JL, Simon. It is time to drop Devin Duvernay. He's been so ass the past 6 games.
Well, you see, Devin Duvernay isn't getting enough of a target share to be fantasy relevant.
And with that, Simon chose Devin Duvernay as a total bust this season.
I just don't think a boom bust player on the Baltimore Ravens is someone that I want to be starting week in, week out.
Little did they know, Simon just shit his pants as he gave that advice.
Well done, boys. So now, is it just a one question, or anytime we get a question for a little bit, you got to do that?
Oh, yeah, no, now I'm permanently Kermit for the rest of my life. I think the bet was if you lose this draft, you have to answer questions in the impression of somebody else's choice for the remainder of your life.
Oh, yeah, that's perfect.
So, JL, I hope you're not busy because now you're going to have to narrate me every time I'm answering a question for the rest of forever.
It would be my pleasure.
Excellent.
I never realized how difficult impressions were until we just started doing them on the show. And now, like, I hear Kermit in my head, and then what comes out is not Kermit the Frog.
Yeah, that's what makes what Jake Trowbridge does so impressive, because he is so good at them, dude. He is amazing.
Yeah, Jake is the man. It is very impressive what he's done.
Yeah.
And JL, you did a pretty good Morgan Freeman there. I'm not going to lie. It was recognizable. It was, which is a mega compliment to say that an impression is recognizable.
Right. I wasn't as convinced, but I'll take your guys' word for it.
Guys, we did have another prop bet draft from yesterday with our friend Joey. Let's run through these, see what the results of this one was. I don't know who's winning.
Yes, I don't have to pay out Joey's.
Yeah, you'll pay out Joey's.
No, hell no. Right? I'm not picking out Joe. I'm not paying out Joey's dumbass picks unless he wins.
We'll wait. Joey can call in at some point and we'll pay at that point.
Yeah,
if Joey owes us.
Okay, so Joey took Matt Ryan over 236.5 passing yards. That was a bonk. He had 199, so no dice there. Coop, you took Pat Fryermuth over 46.5 receiving yards, and he had 39. So that is a bonk. I took Parris Campbell over 42.5 receiving yards, and he had 14. So that is also a bonk. I took a Kenny Pickett interception. He did not throw an interception. So another bonk.
No interception, no touchdowns, under 200 yards. Like, he just was kind of out there.
It was just present. Here, it's me, Kenny Pickett. Coop, you took Najee Harris over 2.5 receptions, and Najee Harris had 1 reception.
That hurt.
So that is a bonk. Joey took the Colts over 20.5 points. That is a bonk. Joey took George Pickens over 3.5 receptions, and he had 3 receptions for 50 yards. Bonk. Coop, you took Michael Pittman over 66.5 receiving yards, and he had 61 receiving yards.
11 targets.
Bonk. And I took JT over 83.5 rush yards. He had 86. So at the whistle, I am the winner of this prop bet draft with 1 correct. The very last one, the one that I didn't even want to take, but we were out of options.
At one point, I said I wanted Deontay Johnson over 43 yards and then pivoted off that. So the one that I pivoted off was the one that would have hit. I kept all the other ones, of course.
Got it.
Nice.
Got it. Suck it, guys. All it took for me to win was everybody else missing all of them. And then I pulled a victory out. That's all I needed. Tommy said, damn, if I played against you, I would be money right now. Yeah, that was not our best round of the prop bet draft. We'll get Joey to call in at some point, Coop, and you and Joey can do a little impression off.
Look forward to that.
That'd be a good one. Just 2 people doing the same impression, directly compare them immediately.
That would be
tell them which one's better.
Brutal, dude.
I think that's the move going forward.
Yeah.
I think that's the move.
Oh,
Guys, the game last night, we've talked a little bit about it, but the Steelers did come out on top 24-17. It seemed like it was going to be a slam dunk play for the Indianapolis receiving options, but that wasn't so much what we saw, except for Mr. Jelani Woods. And then the touchdown for Michael Pittman saving the day a little bit. But Coop, I did want to ask you about Jelani Woods. He was quite a factor in last night's game. 9 targets, 8 receptions. That's hard to ignore. But are you going to tell me I should ignore it, or is this a player that should be on my fantasy radar?
So it's inconclusive right now. I'm still waiting on some numbers regarding pass blocking. He did lead the team in snaps, 64 snaps to 34. After his performance this week, it's hard to believe that they would go back to the rotation they've had with Kylen Granson and Mo Alley Cox, considering how effective Jelani was and how ineffective those guys have been. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. I think as of right now, he's looking like a potential add. And I just need to make sure that it's not like a situation where he blocked on like 40% of his snaps and just kind of snuck out. But it doesn't look like that. Looks like this guy could be the real deal. So I'm going to confirm that later. Keep an eye on Twitter once we get those numbers out. Should be, usually it's pretty early in the morning. They come out sometime around 9 or 10. So I'll get some info out there, but looked good, huh? He looked like he was 10 feet tall out there.
He looked massive. He would catch the ball, and I immediately assumed Mo Alley Cox just because, like, that's what you whenever I think massive player, that's the first player that comes to mind, and he's on the Colts.
He's also massive. Yeah.
But Jelani Woods out there just looking like a beast.
Yeah. And the narrative Jelani Woods was basically that he went to Oklahoma State and they just didn't use the tight ends in that offense to catch passes. So he kind of was like, you know what, I'm transferring, went to Virginia, took a little time to get going, but once he did get assimilated there, he had a very good season in Virginia. But that kind of stuff pushes your draft stock down, where you're not like, you don't come out and have like 3 killer years. So it was, the upside was always there, but we knew it could take some time for him to get going. Now that he's up and running, who knows,
Do you know how tall he is? I just pulled it up.
6'7"?
6'7", 6'7", 253. That's a big man.
A big dog.
He could catch me and eat me. Like, he's faster than me and big enough to just consume me.
Catch me and eat me.
Those are the scariest.
Folks out there, don't beat yourself up over not starting Jelani Woods anywhere, because he hadn't played more than like 30% of the snaps in any single game. He played double the snaps he's ever played this week. So he did come out of nowhere, and now's the time to scoop those guys up when they do have their breakout game.
Absolutely. Maria out here saying, have a good one, friend. She's out of here. Adios, Maria. Thanks so much for hanging out with us.
Those kids.
I see Frank in here. Good morning, Frank. Welcome in.
Frank.
Glad to have you here, my friend. And Dustin saying the Colts tight end room is so freaking tall. It is so freaking tall. Guys, Matt Ryan seemed like a great play yesterday as well against this Pittsburgh pass D that has been pretty beatable. And it was an indoor game, but he did not perform for fantasy. Is Matt Ryan ever startable at this point? Like, is he a matchup play, or is this a dude that's just living on the waiver wire in 1 QB leagues?
He's just not a fantasy guy, really. Like, he's not going to be. He's had a few games this year where you got decent fantasy production, like week 6 against Jacksonville, he had 27.16 points. Week 10 against the Raiders, 22.68. But it's so hard to predict unless it's like a really plus matchup. But I don't even know that that's the case, because this should have been a plus matchup for him against Pittsburgh. Like, Pittsburgh is not a very good defense, and he got like halfway through the game, he's got like negative points. So I'm staying far away from Matt Ryan unless it's super flex, in which case I think you can throw him in as a QB2, a low end QB2. But
I was watching the game, but I had like the box score pulled up, and I had the Colts side, and I just kept pulling down to refresh because I was like, well, like it clearly hasn't refreshed. He's got 0 passing yards, and there's 7 minutes left in the second quarter. No, he legitimately didn't have a single passing yard until like 7 minutes left in the second quarter.
Yeah, there's kind of 2 kinds of QBs in this league. Well, I mean, I guess there's 3 if you include mobile QBs. But there's QBs that always do it, and then there's QBs that do it when they have to. Which is like, there's some QBs that you can always count on them to come out slinging the ball. Like, no matter what with Joe Burrow, he's going to be hucking chucking the football. Same with Herbert, right? there's some other QBs where you have to play into the narratives. Like you need the game script to go a certain way because they're content just handing the ball off or just, being game manager. Matt Ryan is 100% in the second category where he needs to be forced to throw it. And every once in a while he can, if it's a close game, every once in a while he'll throw for 300 yards, but he's not coming out doing that right from the rip like some of these other guys are. I just like Tom Brady is at this stage in his career, he just comes out slinging. So I would still rather trust a guy like that over a guy like Matt Ryan, just because he's at least going to try and throw. Some of these guys default to just handing it to running it, and it drives me nuts.
It's funny that Tom Brady's I feel like quarterbacks usually age the other way, where they like become more of a game manager as they get older. And Tom Brady is just like, nah, we're chucking it, baby.
Tom Brady's the other one where he accumulated the power. He left to go to a place where he could call all the shots, and he's like, we're just chucking shotgun. Let's go.
I was shocked this weekend. And like, it's not like I haven't heard the number before, but whenever Kieft caught that touchdown pass from Tom Brady, and they said this is the 93rd different player to catch a touchdown pass from Tom Brady, the length and magnitude of his career just kind of like struck me. 93 different players have caught a touchdown pass from you. Like, that's absurd. The amount of people that have come in and out of the organizations that he's been playing for and he's had success with. Found him in the end zone.
Yeah. Some of those guys retired 20 years ago. 2 of those guys are dead.
Is that real? I guess
Terry
so.
Glenn, Terry Glenn and Aaron Hernandez. Yeah. So I mean, it's just it's sad that we laughed at that, but it's true. It's a crazy fact. Like this guy's been around for so long, bro. Like it's insane.
93 different players is absurd to me. Just absolutely absurd. But that's not the game we were talking about. We were talking about the Steelers Colts game. The fumble on the 1 yard line was just brutal for the Colts. They cut to the Colts fan in the crowd, and he didn't even look mad. He just looked like, of course. Like he just started rubbing his eyes. He was like, yeah, that checks out. And then just was like sad. There was no anger. There was no sadness. It was just, yep, about right for our season.
You know what I've been meaning to mention this, but it's like as a Patriots fan, for years and years, I thought to myself, like, okay, this is going to end. And at that point, I'm going to be one of those fans that is okay with rooting for us to lose and trying to get a better draft pick and playing it smart. Now that we're in that situation, I still can't do it. Like I can't root for the Patriots to lose. I'm always rooting for them to win. Even if it's in their best interest to lose, I'm like, no.
No, that's just your coping mechanism. As a lifelong Browns fan, let me teach you how that works. It is not your number one priority. It's what you say every time you lose a game during a season like that. Okay. You never say it before the game, but after the game, then that's your justification. You say like, yeah, well, you know what? We're going to get a better draft pick this year. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Season's lost anyways. But after you win, then you celebrate. It's only a post-game statement.
Okay, I like that. That makes it much easier.
Makes it so much easier.
After all these parades and stuff, I just don't know how to behave.
After all these parades.
You love a parade.
Just imagine being a little spoiled Patriots fan, and it's like they don't win the Super Bowl, and you're like, do we still have a parade? Or
Papa, is there still a parade?
Papa, there's been no parade.
For my New England Patriots.
There hasn't been a parade.
Did the Patriots win it all again, Papa?
Go back to your room.
But what about the Bruins? The Bruins are actually favored to win the Stanley Cup this year.
We don't talk about hockey in this house.
We haven't had a parade here in months, Papa.
When's Papa Tom coming home, Papa?
Give us some more.
Ask your mother.
Guys, coming up, we've got some hypothetically coming your way, and we're going to run through our waiver wire simulator. And then we're playing some Factor Flash, letting you know whether players that had big games this week are a fact or a flash in the pan. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
There was a tweet about the refs that had me kind of cracking up the other day because somebody was like, we have the technology to track the ball down to a centimeter and figure out, what speed these guys are running on the field. Yet somehow we still mark the ball by
That's my favorite.
A 60-year-old dude eyeballing it, and then we run over with literal chains and measure it. It's like, you think we can probably get that figured out.
the least precise way to measure something, and then like immediately following that up with a super precise way of measuring something.
Yeah,
it's like we have
what I love.
satellite.
Like if you're a millimeter short of that chain that they bring out there, that they ran out it as best they could in a straight line. But if you like, first they just go here, and then they grab the chains and they run in the straightest line possible. But then if you are 1 millimeter short with that football, doesn't count. Sorry. Couldn't have been human error. You're just short.
That's exactly. And, they bring up the index card or whatever. Meanwhile, they have satellites in space tracking how fast Brandon Ayuk ran on an end around. But we can't,
and I can see that number live while he's doing it. Like I can see every player's speed on the screen live.
And I love that. It's like, and not to mention that dude's trying to make the spot and the player always tosses the ball right into his face. Right? Like he's coming over to spot it, and it's like every other time the player just here you go. Here's another thing to juggle.
On call with Dr. Roto.
If the Giants don't win another game this year, A, I'll be shocked. But B, I'll still think that they're better than they were with Joe Judge. Much better. Because I think Brian Daboll's got a lot out of this team already. And I'm seeing what this team could be. See, that's the problem with owners and general managers. I see Nathaniel Hackett and I see a guy who can't get it done. I see Matt Rule and see a guy who never should have been hired. Disaster right away. Sometimes a good coordinator in the NFL is better. I don't even say sometimes. Most of the time, a good coordinator in the NFL is better than a college coach because the NFL coordinators, they know the system. They've been there. They've played. They've been around it. For the life of me, I don't know why Eric Bieniemy hasn't gotten a job yet. Deuce Staley is going to get a job. Somebody's going to hire that dude. When you've been around the game, you understand it. These college guys come, they don't know it.
Join the show with one touch of a button. It's Sports Talk 3.0 on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We've got Dave in the chat coming in here saying, good morning, Goofies and Simon. Good morning, Dave. Welcome in.
Good morning, Dave.
Want an FYF parade. JL, what are you doing in the FYF parade?
Oh, I am standing on top, shirt off, winging it. Woo!
JL, you stole my move. Can we both do it? Can we do it together?
Yeah, we do it together, buddy.
Okay,
cool. Arm in arm.
I saw you
Coop,
sneak up. I heard
what
you
are you
sneak
doing,
a little.
Coop?
I heard you sneak a little Will Smith in there. Aha.
Aha.
I missed the question. I was tweeting. What was it?
If in an FYF parade, what are you doing?
I'd probably take my shirt off and swing it around.
There was one time I was in Savannah with my girlfriend, and I was meeting her friend that went to school there and her friend's friends, right? So I was not close to these people. I had met her friend on FaceTime or briefly previously, but none of her friends' friends. And we go to somebody's house that I've never met for a party. And her friends' friends, I think, were just maybe not the best influences, because all of a sudden I'm in the backyard doing that exact move. I'm getting cheered on, and I've got my shirt spinning over my head in the backyard of this house I've never met. And my girlfriend tells me later that she was in the kitchen, and the kitchen has a window that overlooks the sink with the owner of the house. And the owner of the house, the girl I've never met, goes, "Who is that guy waving a shirt over his head in my backyard?" And she had to be like, yeah, that's my boyfriend.
I've never met
I
him.
brought him. I brought him.
Tommy makes the best point. I would be gronking out. I think that's the move, dude. You catch beers that the fans are throwing to you and chug them until you can't catch them anymore. Once you can no longer catch beers at all, that's when you're done.
The parade is just 7 guys waving their shirts above their head on one float. It's just 7 shirtless guys waving their shirt.
That PD Pablo song on repeat. North Carolina.
The float is just a giant head of Peach.
Peach to Deej. We got a Deej one a little bit further ahead in a ball that goes back and forth between the two.
Throwing finger traps into the crowd.
You get a finger trap. You get a finger trap. We got Albert
Guys,
in the chat said, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Albert. Good to see you.
What
my
up,
friend.
Albert?
There he is.
Guys, it is time, and I feel like this is a good segue because that was a little mini version of our game, hypothetically. We're going to play The full game, hypothetically. JL, you want to run us through how this works today?
I will absolutely run us through this. If this is your first time watching us play this game hypothetically, I'm going to pose 3 different hypothetical questions, scenarios, would you rather questions to these guys, and they have to answer me. And their only a constraint is that they have to overthink the hell out of their response. So they'll have an opportunity to ask as many questions as they like before answering. That's it. It's pretty simple. You guys ready?
I can do it.
Yeah.
All right, let's start with our first hypothetically prompt of today. Would you rather lose one eyeball or lose one arm or lose one leg?
Oh,
Pretty simple. Would you rather lose one eyeball, lose one arm, or lose one leg?
First
Now,
question.
okay. Oh, fine, go ahead.
Do I lose it right now or like earlier in my life and I don't have it? Like, did I experience portions of my life without this body part prior to
Right
today?
now.
Okay, well, then that changes my answer. Some of the benefits to missing a leg are now gone.
Do I lose it in some sort of violent? Is it a violent fashion in which it's lost, or is it just like snap your fingers and it's just gone?
It's pretty violent.
Two-step.
Because
Okay.
It's all by myself.
eyeball would have been so much easier if I didn't have to lose it violently.
What was the question, Simon?
Well, he said snap your fingers, and then I said two-step. Can I do it all by myself, or does someone else have to take it off from me?
Damn it! I missed one.
Do you understand?
Jedi says eyeball is gone. Pirate Jedi.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to like Saw style with a fork remove my own eyeball. Is that what you're saying, Jay?
That's what I mean, dude. If it was just
or like
snap and gone,
surgically,
it's easy,
I'm put
but, like,
under. It's removed, but I still have to deal with the recovery process.
All right, let's go with that one. Yeah, surgically, just to keep all things even playing field here. Yeah, you have to surgically lose it, but you got to deal with the recovery of
Right,
having
yeah,
an amputated limb or removed
Yeah,
eyeball.
if I were to violently lose my leg right now, I'd be in a whole heap of trouble, dude. I just got my cell phone. I could call somebody, but that's
Which arm?
That's ooh.
Your dominant one.
No.
On all of the answers, it's the dominant one. Your dominant leg, your dominant arm, and your dominant eyeball.
Okay.
And yes, you have a
I
dominant eyeball. You didn't know
did-
that.
We've
I'm
done
left
that
by
on
dominant.
this. We've done it on the
We
show
did it?
before. Yeah, we did. We've done.
Damn.
We
My
did
nephew,
it
my
on-
nephew was talking about it this weekend, and I totally was like, wow, that's new information.
Dale, I've watched you put your finger in front of your face on the show and try to figure it out, and then go, I don't get it. And then put
Zero
your right back.
It was nonsense.
Zero recollection of that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
this is tough. This is quite tough. So if my eye's gone, that feels like the least intrusive. But with one eye, you lose a lot of your depth perception.
You're gonna
Right,
suck at
like-
video games, bro.
It's going to be rough with one eye. Your depth
Maybe not,
perception, it affects you a lot on a daily basis, I feel like. And my dominant eye, so now I'm going to get the one where things are not in the right place. It's going to be not good. But the arm, do you have any idea how much I use my arm for? Like everything.
At least half the things I pick up, I use one of my arms for, and the other half, believe it or not, I use the other arm. So
Wow.
yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now, as somebody who had a difficult time just the other day carrying 2 drinks and a bagel in here, I would be in big trouble with only one arm. I can't even do that with 2 arms, dude. I just destroyed my living room doing that. So
Toronto Dave asking, can I then sell the removed body part on the black market? Feel like an eyeball would fetch a pretty penny. Sure. I will let you sell your limb.
especially your beautiful eyes, Toronto Dave. I would,
Sure.
if your eyes were on the market, Dave, I'd buy them. I'd buy them in a second. I'd have them right here on my desk.
That's the nicest, creepiest thing you've said so far today, Coop. That's
I'd
just
snatch 'em.
beautiful.
I'd snatch them right up, dude. Highest bidder.
Snatch him right up.
Yeah.
Hunter style.
So I got to be honest with you guys. I don't think we've ever discussed this on the show, but my number one biggest fear is losing a limb. Knock on wood when you say that. I hate the idea of it. When I watch movies, I would rather have somebody get shot square in the face than get like a finger chopped off. I hate it. It makes me
You
so
have talked about this on
so
the show.
squeamish. I don't like it, dude.
I
I
think
watch
hypothetically was the last time you brought this up. So hypothetically, just
Yeah.
he's
And then
bringing it.
every time it comes up. I watched Game of Thrones. I was watching it live when it first came out, and then when it happened with the Kingslayer, dude, I didn't watch for 4 years. So take my eyes, take them all, take my eyes, but not the arms and legs. No, take my eyes, but not the shirt. You
So
can
you're going eyeball?
eyeball immediately, dude. Plus, eye patches are kind of badass, dude. Kind of sneaky badass.
Coming back.
Yeah.
Coming back.
After Meat Mansion had his surgery, he had like some double vision stuff going on. He was wearing an eye patch, dude. Eye patch with the surgery with the head scar, man. He was looking pretty kick-ass, dude. I told him, I was like, you might want to keep that eye patch, dude.
You might want to keep that eye
Kind of
patch.
dope.
Jedi in here saying, asking, are they black market Sharingan eyes? No, they are not. They're just normal, regular eyes.
So here's where I'm taking my bet. We are approaching the age of probably widespread augmented reality in wearable devices, right? Like we are not quite there yet, but I think we're almost there. Like within our lifetime, we are going to see that become a part of our reality. That being said, I imagine what they could do with an eye, know what I mean? Like an artificial eye with that technology, you could probably, not immediately, but within your lifetime, maybe in 20 years, like I have to just figure it out until that time. I could probably get a really sick artificial eye that like connects to my nervous system, has some sort of like augmented reality display in front of me. And that's what I'm rolling with. I'm banking on the tech becoming available eventually. And I'm going to have to take the eye out.
I will say that that technology will be available in your lifetime, but so will the technology for your arm and leg. And so similar to like that guy in Black Panther or Marvel, but he's in Black Panther. Is like I think the first time we meet him in MCU. You know, he's got like I forget his name, but he's got like the artificial arm that's actually a gun, Inspector Gadget style.
I think the NFL should allow like if you can create some sort of like pneumatic leg that just absolutely blasts field goals from like 80, 90 yards, they should allow that. I think that would be sick. Just to have that.
That would be pretty.
You know
sweet.
what I mean? It's like forget punts. Just punts are done, and now you have this crazy pneumatic kicker, and I'd love that.
Man, I'm getting sent back to like freshman year philosophy class where the professor was like, we have to define what a human is, because if we don't, how do we know when something is no longer human with the enhancements that we make to it with machine? He's like, if we do not know clearly defined what is a human, then how will we know when we are no longer human? And I was just sitting there at 18 years old, like, yo, what are you talking about? Like, define a human. I can't even define like pugnacious.
There's a philosophical question on that, like the ship of
replacing
if you replace all the parts, isn't the same ship?
Yeah.
Also, I saw the ship of Theseus or Theseus or something like that. But I saw someone on Reddit within the last month that lost their eye to cancer and they replaced it with a flashlight. So they had this one flashlight eye. Is that your dream, Goo?
I mean, flashlight augmented body.
Just saying, dude. If I have to lose one,
Simon's got like a fountain pen hand.
What would yours be, JL? Their plant leg.
That's like Adventure Time. Finn gets he loses his arm and he gets a little flower that pops out.
What a great show that is.
What a great show.
And Dustin asking how much of the arm from the shoulder and for the leg from the hip, from the eyeball. Pretty self-explanatory.
Dave saying getting a hook in there instead of prosthetic, getting a hook. That would be
but the shoulder, just a hook straight from the shoulder is kind of.
So that's true. That's kind of a little. That's definitely less useful.
So you would crush zip lines with that shit.
Oh yeah.
I think that would hurt the whole time.
I would have zip lines everywhere.
So you guys are both going with the eyeball, correct?
Yeah, I'm going with the eye. I think.
All right.
Yeah, no question, dude. No question.
All right. Well done, guys. Well done on that first hypothetically prompt. Let's get on to our next one. All right. This is another would you rather. Would you rather do the laundry for an NFL team for the entire season, or cook for an NFL team for the entire season, or be an NFL team's therapist for an entire season?
Okay, so with the cooking, with the cooking, how many different dishes do I need to make? I'm trying to think. I don't even know if I know how to make enough dishes to mix it up enough. We'd be having a lot of like pancakes,
ramen noodle, pasta,
ramen again. Dude, I'd probably get my ass beat if I was the cook.
Dave says therapist easy. He's like, I think I could actually do it.
So the laundry, I'm just going to say it now, out of the question. I could never actually do it. And I fully I'm assuming if you don't complete the task, you die. Because that's how Would You Rather works, right? So I would not complete the task. I can't even complete my own load of laundry in one go. I dry every load of laundry that I make like 5 times because I dry it. It gets wrinkly, and then I'm like, I got to dry it again, so I'll fold it, and then I don't fold it, and then it's wrinkly.
Why don't you just
again.
fold it when it's done?
Because I don't. Because I didn't.
No.
It's too late.
You have to
at that
fold
point.
it. I have to fold the laundry.
Yeah, that's doing
then
laundry.
I'm 1,000%.
What do you think you're just going to drop it on the floor and they're just going to come and grab their own stuff?
Yeah, you kind of throw it, just toss it in the locker. You know what I mean? What is it,
No,
it's like a
these
girdle
guys
and
are
a
getting
jersey.
paid millions of dollars a year. You think they're going to waste their time sorting through laundry? No, that's your job.
That is my number 2 least favorite chore is laundry. And packing is the only one worse. And I feel like packing is just the last step of laundry.
I never
it's
thought
still
of
just
packing
part
as a
of it.
chore.
It's definitely a chore, right?
Okay.
It's not when you have to do it all
Makes
the time,
sense,
but it's in there.
yeah.
God, I hate those too.
Yeah, with the therapist stuff, that's so dicey because I don't know anything about it. So just thinking,
So you'd be a really bad
I'd be a really
therapist.
bad therapist, and dude, being
You're like, just get over it, man.
being a bad therapist, yeah, rub some dirt on it, bro. And then they would be like, "That's
Just
what
a
I
toxic,
thought."
toxic
This is
masculinity
too toxic
therapist.
masculinity. Yeah, just rub some dirt on it. He's like, "Yeah, that's what Coach said. Thanks, bro."
Eat some beef.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
So eat some beef.
Yeah.
I think I'd be
man.
doing. I'm trying to think of how, where I would do the most damage at this point because I'm pretty bad at cooking. I mean, you give
Tommy
everybody food poisoning.
That's
That's
true.
no good, dude.
That
That's
isn't
no
good. You're going to screw the team. Tommy asks, which team? I'll let you pick. I'll let you pick the team.
And the next question is important. Can he cook one meal or does he have to cater to all food allergies and preferences?
He has to cater to at least the big ones, like vegetarian, gluten-free,
No peanuts.
peanuts.
Right. Cater to the out, but not to oh, I like Gruyere. Not we don't have to cater to that. But if someone's like,
No.
I don't eat beef, then we have to make a non-beef dish for them.
Yeah.
I think I'm just making all my dishes gluten-free, vegan, dairy-free.
Just make your life easier.
Just make my life easier. Everyone gets this one.
A lot of complaining football players, but that's fine.
Dave in here said, I legit made a therapy template, not joking, for sessions. See, I look at that and I think that's one where I don't know if I would be doing permanent damage if I was the therapist. I think I'm sitting there and I'm not sure I'm qualified enough. There are people that go to school for a very, very long time to do that. And I don't know if I'm qualified enough. And there's some days where I would be the world's worst therapist for sure. Some days, you know what, I think I could navigate it. But some days I'd be in there and it'd be like, yo, you gotta do me today. I'm not therapy.
You do me. I need your
Switch.
help.
I think I'm ready, Simon. I don't know if you have more questions.
I think I'm ready as well. I know exactly what I'm doing here.
I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you right now. I'm pivoting to the one I ruled out immediately. I gotta take laundry. I think I'd be hurting the team cooking, not providing enough nutrients. I think with the psychiatry stuff, you could do permanent damage there, and there's been enough of that going on. And here is the secret added benefit of doing the laundry. I could probably get away with sneaking maybe sneaking a jersey or maybe sneaking some socks, game worn socks,
like that Tom Brady, the guy that took was it Tom Brady's jersey or something?
Dude,
remember that? It's a couple years ago.
That's
He
the
took
move.
Tom
He
Brady's
just stole
jersey
it out.
and
Yeah,
then-
stole it out of the locker room. I mean, I don't know.
You
Dude,
could start
charged
an
though, I
underground
think.
business selling NFL players used socks. Cool.
Who wants a
The
Creed
money you
Humphrey?
can make.
Who wants a Creed Humphrey game used girdle? Because I got
Game used girdle.
game used jock
They were
strap.
girdles.
Game used
I,
jock strap. Who needs one?
I think I have to go with the cooking. Of the three, I actually enjoy cooking. I'm not the best at it, but at the end of the day, throwing in my headphones and putting together a Blue Apron or making something is a relaxing activity. Now it's going to be on a much larger scale, but I think
There's
I'm just
a lot of Blue Apron
going
boxes.
exactly. I think I'm just going to my Blue Apron recipes, multiplying it by 30 and throwing it together. We're getting lots of mashed potatoes and lots of sheet pan salmon.
You have to
for
do
this
it in your
football
kitchen
team.
though.
Is it in my kitchen?
No, you got a team kitchen.
Oh, then we are Gucci. We are so good then. We're going to kill it. I'm going to be the chef and everyone's going to go,
But
wow.
no one's there to help you. It's just you. So you got a big kitchen, but it's just you.
I prefer the chaos of working alone in the kitchen. as opposed to
That's
the
fair.
chaos of working with others in a kitchen. I'm not a good enough chef to cooperate while cooking.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Usually I don't answer these while I'm administering the prompts, but I think I would take the third option. So I think we had a clean sweep here. Each of us took one of them.
Wow.
My reasoning would be I get all the secret gossip. You know, get that info from the players. I know who's mad at who, everything like that.
That inside
Inside info. I'm gonna turn that
like
straight into
that,
content,
dude.
baby. Straight
I'm
into
not
I like
content.
that.
I'm
But,
not
dude, you're the
emotionally strong enough.
overcooked champ, dude. I'm surprised you wouldn't be.
I
up in the
am.
kitchen just
Does not translate to real cooking. You'll be surprised.
Jail just starts throwing plates across the kitchen.
Exactly.
He walks
Soup's
up to a
not made
tomato
from
and just goes like this. I'm like, what the hell? Why isn't this
How did
tomato
he do
chopped?
that? Why is the soup just a bunch of chopped up onions and tomatoes? And we got a question in here. Before we get on to our last hypothetically prompt, we had a question here from Actison asking Devo or Christian Watson in a half PPR format. Guessing this is starter sit this week.
Debo or Christian?
I'm going to go with Deebo Samuel. I don't know the matchups. The 49ers are playing the Dolphins. So Deebo's playing against the Dolphins. And then
Packers of Chicago.
I'll roll out Deebo Samuel.
Yeah.
It's still Debo, man. But I mean, that speaks to the quality of Christian Watkins that it's even a question. You know what I mean? And it kind of is at this point, but Debo is still Debo.
Yeah, the fact that I pulled up the matchup for Deebo to make sure that he was the answer there is, man, Christian Watson's taking quite a jump in perception. This past week helped do it for me. Like he really jumped up quite a bit for me this past week.
Yeah. I had a poll in the chat the last like 20 minutes or so. So which rookie wide receiver would you rather roster in Dynasty? Garrett Wilson won 41% of the vote from the chat. Drake London, 25%. And then George Pickens and Treylon Burks each had 16%. Christian Watson, I couldn't fit in there, but I'd be interested to see where he falls. Are you guys surprised by those results at all?
Drake London, I'm a little bit surprised by. I thought he would just have a little bit more of the vote. But I get it. We're not seeing it right now, right?
Right.
I voted for Garrett Wilson. I think he's looked good, man. He's a stud. And if he's playing well with these quarterbacks, just imagine.
Yeah.
Just wait till he gets Jacoby Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett.
I wanted to answer one quick one. Dustin asked, what subreddits is Coop on? I'm subscribed to many obscure subreddits. But the ones I have the most karma on, it's funny, the one I have the most karma on is the NFL subreddit, which I've been banned from for like a year now. But my top subreddits are NFL, fantasy football, dynasty FF, NBA, baseball, Patriots, hip hop heads. But then you start getting some weird ones. There's some deep ones. I mean, I'm in like
Fountain
bourbon,
pen life,
flashlights, fountain pens, but some of them like
computer science.
Some of my favorite ones.
Backyard chickens. That's like one of my ones that I found one day that I'm just in all the time. It's just people who have chickens in their backyard and they're obsessed.
I
with
bet you
it.
my sister's on that.
Gotta have chickens, dude. Bread stapled to trees. You gotta be up in there, dude.
Bread stapled to trees.
That's a good one. Is Eric wearing shorts today? Where they're literally just somebody. I don't know if he is today.
While you figure that out, Jonathan Santiago came in here and asked a question. So, what's up, guys? I'm on a 6-win streak. I want to keep it going. I'm starting Deshaun Watson this week. Should I pair him with Amari Cooper or should I flex Tyler Lockett instead? So this week, Deshaun Watson coming back, Amari Cooper or Tyler Lockett. Which one would you rather start, Simon?
It's going to be Amari Cooper for me. Amari Cooper's been absolutely killing it. He's got Deshaun Watson coming back. The only concern for him is if this Texans team has been quite porous against the run, and the Browns have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. But I expect them to let Deshaun Watson air the ball out a bit in this game. And Amari Cooper is the dude in this offense. Go for the stack. Get them both in there.
Stack it up. I love that.
Stack it up. Yeah, I'm with you. We chose Deshaun Watson over Geno Smith earlier. That was kind of the line where we'd start Deshaun Watson. And yeah, I'd rather stack here.
Get that double stack. I guess it's just a single stack.
Hasn't come out yet, but as of yesterday, Eric was not wearing shorts.
All right, guys, let's get into our last hypothetically prompt here. Here it is. You're splish splashing around in your floaties in the TIAA Stadium pool during the Jacksonville Jaguars game. The only other person in the pool is the Jacksonville mascot, Jackson, and his America Speedo. Suddenly, a child starts screaming, "Poop! Somebody pooped in the pool!" The entire stadium lets out a collective gasp and turns and looks at you. Jackson, the mascot, staring at you. What do you do?
First question, is the paint on his body waterproof?
Yes.
So
Okay.
I think I looked way too closely, and it's not paint. It's some sort of bodysuit that he's found that has that has like
He said I
Jaguar
looked way
stripes
too
on it.
closely.
Yeah, I looked way too closely at it, and it definitely is some sort of like bodysuit. So that'd be pretty uncomfortable to be in that pool in that suit. But unfortunately, that would also make it it would be very difficult to poop in that attire.
You're right.
So-
You're not getting away with that because if he is in a spandex suit that zips all the way up, that's not his poop. Like that is not his poop in the pool. So JL, is what you're asking here. You shit in the pool and someone saw it. They know it's not the Jaguar. What do you do? Like, is that what's going on here?
Only you know. I can't answer that. Only you know if you were the one that pooped in the pool.
Is it a solid poop?
It's pretty solid. It's
Okay,
pretty
it
big.
wasn't me. Wasn't
It's
me.
impressive. You'd be proud of that one.
Yeah, I would have told everyone. I would have said, hey, I would have called my mom and said, Mom, we did it.
We did finally.
I've thought that what would be more embarrassing, Simon, being like pooping in the pool or being like everyone. It couldn't possibly have been me because I have terribly gross poop because all my poops are so gross that that couldn't possibly.
My
have been one of mine.
gastrointestinal system is not
That
good.
one's way too nice to be mine. So don't worry, everyone.
I think this is what you do. I think you play
Swimming in someone else's poop.
I think you play the hero here. You know what I mean? Like I think you play the hero to like show that it's not you. Like everyone's freaking out, and immediately like the first reaction is, "Oh, gross!" Like you freak out too, and then like as people are looking for someone to do something, you're like, "I got it, guys. Like I got it. I'm sure there's gloves somewhere, but if not, you grab a towel, you grab something, and you dive underwater and you scoop it out of there and take it away." And then you go get the staff, but you play the hero in this situation because
Like the
no one
scuba
else is going
diver
to want to
Finding
do it.
Nemo.
And then everybody clapped.
And then
The
everybody,
entire stadium claps. And you're like, don't worry about it, guys.
You hear over the speakers right as you grab the poop. It's like, they say that a hero can save us. I'm not gonna stand here and wait. No, that's
game goes
I'm gonna
Simon Grunewald, hero of Jacksonville.
He may or may not have pooped in the pool, but he cleaned it up.
That's responsible. Don't
I'm
be
gonna-
a jerk.
I'm going to be a different kind of hero in this situation because, it's me in the pool. There's the kid in the pool. And then, of course, there's the mascot. But the mascot, he has the whole outfit on. It's going to be difficult to blame it on him. But I'm not going to blame it on this kid because children, their minds are fragile, right? If you blame the poop on this kid, whether it was his poop or not, he's going to have to live with that for the rest of his life. This probably one of his first games. You know what I mean? I've been embarrassed in my life so many times on this show regularly. When I had to do the Scooby-Doo impression, embarrassed. But I've been through that pain. I could deal with that embarrassment. I'm a grown man. You know what I mean? Well, put me on Twitter. I would do it for the clicks. You know what I mean? But I would step in there and I'd take the blame on the poop for that kid. I'd be like, kid, I got this one. I get this one. I'd put the hand up, security would come get me. But
Take you out in cuffs.
I would dive on that poop grenade for that kid. Just, I would just hope he would remember. He would remember me.
Of course he would. How could he forget the hero that saved him? Well done, guys. Well done. Hypothetically prompt.
That was a tough one.
That was a tough one. You guys did it.
I'm sitting here just thinking about what I actually would do, Jay. Like my mind is running through the scenario. Like if they really thought it was me, maybe Coop's route would be the best. I'm gonna be thinking about this all day.
I don't know if I could. I just wouldn't be in a pool at that game. It's not where I just never. I would never be there. It never ever happened. So that's the part that's least believable. That I would spend a. I wouldn't do it.
Dave in here saying
I got stuff to do.
Dave said JL would just take a second poop in the pool. Would that be your move, JL?
100%.
That one wasn't me, but this one is.
Yeah, just to prove you didn't do the first poop. Now how could I have done that poop if I just did
This
that?
doesn't look or smell anything like mine, and I am prepared to prove it to you.
Just
As the pool slowly turns just a disgusting shade of brown.
Just kind of beta fish it, dude, and be like, "Look, this poop, my poop's way stronger than that poop."
Guys, coming up, we are going to run through our waiver wire simulator, and we've got some fact or flash. We're going to tell you whether players that blew up this weekend are fact or a flash in the pan. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
The only person, I've said this to you before, who I believe back then, of all those power hitters who truly was clean, Ken Griffey Jr.
I mean, I think so when he got hurt.
Body didn't change.
We'll never know that for sure either.
Nah, dude.
We've seen guys who were not big take substances.
That's true.
To get busted. So it's not about that always.
I hear you. It's just, don't you think with the way his career kind of went, you would think that he didn't take anything?
I don't think he did, but we'll never know 100%.
I'm going to keep telling myself that he didn't. The 1 year player, I mean, he's my favorite baseball player of all time. In the 1990s, Ron, as a kid, as a 5-year-old kid who plays video games and collected cards, there was no one cooler than Ken Griffey Jr. I still wear my hat backwards because Ken Griffey Jr. did it, and he looked really cool doing that, wearing a backwards baseball cap. Like, he made everything the guy did looked cool. Even the home run in the movie Little Big League, it's acting, it's all, I guess, fake, but even he made that look cool. I mean, Ken Griffey Jr., you're a little bit older than me, but in the 90s, was there besides Michael Jordan, was there a more loved athlete than Ken Griffey Jr.?
Yeah, no, I love Griffey. He's one of my favorite players ever, from defensively to hitting his swing. And yeah, I would have loved to see what he could have done if he had stayed healthy, the final numbers he'd finished with. So no, I was a huge fan of Ken Griffey, and it's a shame though that all those injuries towards the end of his career just really limited the production he could put up, but he still put up elite numbers. He was so fun to watch. So I'm a huge Ken Griffey guy.
And here's the other thing too. So 1994, the season got shortened because of the strike.
And he finished with 40 homers in 111 games that year, man. And then he had 56 2 years in a row, 97 and 98, and then 48. He had a stretch 4 years in a row, 49, 56, 56, 48, 40. I mean, unbelievable. And then, yeah, once he hit like 31, he started to miss games, 111, 70, 53, 83. So think about that. All those years that he lost, and he still hit 630 home runs, man. Yeah. So if he was clean, he would have been the all-time home run champion. Again, we're all guessing here, but you would think, all right, well, once he got into age 31, 32, that's when the body started breaking out, which is typical, right, for someone who's not using anything, whereas we saw Barry Bonds just get better with age, and we did not see that with Griffey. So look at 2001, where he's 31 when he played on, look at the home runs decline, 8, 13, 20, 35, 27, 30, 18, 15. To his age 38 season. Even age 39 in 170 games, he had 19 home runs. So he probably would have definitely been the all-time home run leader had he been able to stay healthy.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We're about to get into our Week 12 Waiver Wire Simulator. And by Week 12 Waiver Wire Simulator, I mean Week 13 Waiver Wire Simulator. For those of you that have not joined us here before for one of these, how this is going to work is every single one of us has a situation that we find our team in, our record, the type of league, and our remaining budget left. We're going to run through some players that may be out there on the waiver wire, and all of us have put our bids in for these players. We're going to see who gets who comes out on top, who gets the players that they want, and how this plays out. Talk a little bit about our selections as well. So, Coop, you are going to have an 11-1 record, and you're starting with $43. So right in the middle, just about. You've spent some of your fab. You got some left, though. And I cannot. Mr. Cool is here, and he is quiet. We cannot hear Mr. Cool.
Mr. Cool.
Wasn't saying anything. Put my 11-1 glasses on.
Hey, JL, you are 5-7, so you're right there. in the playoff hunt, but probably not in there yet. But you've got $79 left.
This is
You've
what it
been
looks like when
pretty
you're
stingy with your fab.
This is what looks. This is the 5 and 7 glasses.
Mr. Cool.
Mr. Cool.
Mr. Cool.
And then I'm sitting at 6 and 6, so just one game above JL, but I've only got $17 left of fab. So JL, you and I are probably competing for a playoff spot in this league. Me sitting at 6 and 6, you sitting at 5 and 7, but you got that fab advantage.
I do. Yeah, I do got that fab advantage.
You guys ready to start going through this list?
Let's do it.
Let's get it. The first player up is Jaylen Warren, running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers, with the potential of Najee Harris going down. I put nothing in on Jaylen Warren. I've got real limited fab to work with, so I had to be picky. JL put nothing in on Jaylen Warren, and Coop put nothing in on Jaylen Warren. We're passing on Jaylen Warren.
Do it.
Yeah, I think Najee Harris should be okay. Jaylen Warren would be the guy I would pick up, but if he's dealing with a hamstring injury, that's concerning. He's not the guy I would focus on this week.
And again, as people see the players available, we try and mix it up, different league sizes, types. In this particular one, we did basically any reasonable guy under 60%, which makes for a deeper player pool. Sometimes we'll do these and we'll do like there's only guys under 25% owned because it's a very deep league. In some leagues, Jaylen Warren is a good ad, but in this particular format, you're going to see that there's better guys available.
And Dustin saying, I thought Coop's team would put in for Warren as a stash, as a potential stash.
You'll see.
Going 11-1. Well, his team, presumably going 11-1, his team's pretty solid, right? He's got probably solid depth. The other thing to think about that is that you have to give up someone, right, to pick somebody up off the waiver. Typically, you got a limited amount of players you can roster, and so Coop might not feel like that was worth the stash.
We had that.
Speak for Coop. Coop can speak for
no,
himself.
for sure. Though that's exactly right. And we had that discussion last time when I was in JL's spot and I had a ton of money. Like even then, it's not like you can add 6 guys off the wire because you're probably you have to drop your whole bench to do that. So you can only add so many guys before you're hurting your team. Trying to get too crazy.
If I could speak for Coop now, since we're all talking for Coop here.
Please.
Coop's favorite band of all time is Creed, and Jaylen Warren is a known Creed hater. So I just couldn't imagine Coop adding him to his team.
Would never work out.
I just couldn't possibly, like I saw Jaylen Warren there and I couldn't come to him with arms wide open.
No, you just couldn't do it. It's too far right there. That dude's voice.
Everything.
I know they get a lot.
Next time I have an impression, tell me, pick Creed for me. I'll do Creed voice. If anybody else in the chat wants to speak for me, now's the time to hop out. And
now's the time to do it.
Whatever you want on my behalf, because apparently that's what we're doing right now.
As the next player up on the waiver wire was running back for the Baltimore Ravens, Gus Edwards. I put in a bit of $5. JL, $7. And Coop, nothing. You sneaky mom. Just
got boots on the ground over there.
Stealing Gus Edwards away from me. I thought I had him with 5.
Go.
I thought I had him with 5. JL, tell us a little bit about why you put $7 in.
Yeah, Gus Edwards coming back from injury shortly here. And, Kenyon Drake has just kind of fallen off the last few weeks. Gus Edwards, I'm hopeful for. This Baltimore offense looks good. They lost this past weekend, but I think that they'll bounce back. This past week, he had 16 attempts, 52 yards, and a touchdown. He's clearly the main guy there. Once again, Gus Edwards prevails.
Career over 5 yards a carry in his career, which is insane when you realize that he's like 245 and he gets all the short yardage work. Those are the guys that usually you say, oh, well, he only runs for like 4 yards, 4 yards a carry, but he's the guy on 3rd and 1. This guy's the guy on 3rd and 1, and he has over 5 yards a carry for his career, which very few guys have. Dude, guy's a beast. But that said, the position I'm in, 11-1, I'll get to my strategy later when I actually put a bid in. But for the time being, no Gus Edwards for me.
Dave saying, Simon, I thought you had Gus Bus too. Gus Bus is a unit. Yeah, I loved what I saw, and the Ravens love Gus Edwards. My team. Dustin in here saying, sneaky mom. It's from an old, do you remember the Jimmy Kimmel Halloween candy prank where like he had people tell their kids they ate all their Halloween candy and filmed their reactions? And the one that went viral was like this little girl going, you sneaky mom, you sneaky mom. So JL, that's where that came from.
I did not know where that came from. I just thought it was something we said in college.
I like that.
I probably just started saying it and everyone was like, I don't know what that means, but I'm just going to keep on saying it too. Gus Edwards, you got him, JL, which means Mike White is the next player here. And this is a super flex league. So quarterbacks are a bit more valuable on the waiver wire. JL, you put in a bit of $8, Coop, $10. And I had a feeling I wasn't going to get Mike White. So I put in a bit of $3 just in case you guys decided you weren't interested. Coop, but you got him.
Yeah. So at 11-1, here's what I'm doing. I'm looking for either high impact players or league winning players, right? I'm surprised that Mike White in this type of format would be available. He probably would have got added once he was named the starter, but maybe it's one of those leagues where waivers lock, right? Because, waivers lock before he was named the starter. So I figured I'm going to try and block anyone else from getting anyone that's going to be a big time impact. And in Superflex, any starting quarterback can be that player. So I'll take a shot on Mike White. Even if he doesn't start for me, I want to prevent him from going into somebody else's lineup.
3 touchdown Mike White. Mike White, the savior of the New York Jets.
Maybe he will go in my lineup. Who knows?
Mike the White Savior. Is that what you say last week?
No, I said Mike the White Knight is what I said.
Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was.
The Great White Hope.
Which a white knight is like a guy who like comes in and defends a woman on the internet who never asked for it and doesn't want him to. Know what I mean? Like it's like coming in as the savior that nobody asked for.
Right.
That's a neckbeard move.
It's a neckbeard move right there. Jay said
Magic
Mike White. Not until I see his underpants. I've already told you that, Jay, that he has not earned that moniker yet. Well, Mike White is going to go to Coop's team. So, Coop, so far you have Mike White, Joe. You've got Gus Edwards. Up next is wide receiver Parris Campbell of the Indianapolis Colts. I put in a bid of $2. JL and Coop both put in nada. So, Parris Campbell is going to get added to my team. I like Parris Campbell with Matt Ryan. Two is what I put in right there. As far as steady, startable wide receiver options go, Parris Campbell's up there. I know it was a disappointing game last night, but with Matt Ryan under center, the dude is heavily targeted in this offense. So I feel pretty comfortable with the volume, and he's a startable player. And if I'm sitting here at 6-6 in that range, I probably need some startable players. I probably need guys that can fill holes in my lineup. There's probably injury that I'm dealing with that got me to this point. So welcome to the squad, Parris Campbell.
Full PPR, so that if you're going to go for him, that's the format.
100%. Yeah, in a PPR format, that's where he gets all of his value. Up next, we've got DeAndre Carter of the Chargers. No bids all around, 0-0-0. He's staying on the waiver wire. JL, no interest in Mr. Carter?
No, not enough interest in Mr. Carter to put in a bid this week. Maybe, I don't even know, I put a $0 bid.
Yeah, the problem with him is that he's the first man out when somebody gets back. They brought him over to do what he does best, and he does it amazingly, which is return both kicks and punts. That makes him a very valuable player, and he was phenomenal at that with Washington, and he's been very good for the Chargers, but that's at the end of the day, that's what he's going to be doing.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. No interest there. The next player on the waiver wire is Treylon Burks, wide receiver for the Tennessee Titans. I put in a bid of $5, JL $16, and Coop $10. I had a feeling I was not getting him, but I really wanted him. JL, congratulations.
Thank you. Let's see. I put 16. What did Coop put?
I put
10. Yeah, Treylon Burks. I mean, he's looking good, man. He's looking very good. My team is 5-7. I need a spark. I need a spark to get me over that hump here so I can get in the playoffs. Simon is right there. I'm sniffing Simon's behind here with he's 6-6.
Sorry about that.
I'm trying to hurdle him, see if I can do a Najee Harris hurdle into the playoffs.
Is that how Najee hurdles? He sniffs the butt first, and then it just empowers him to get over.
Of course.
Because he's a dog.
Woo! And then he just jumps over.
Wow.
Because he's got that dog in him.
That dog and
he's got so much. He's got so much dog in him that he's
good.
sniffing butts.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. So yeah, Simon. I figured that he would either go to JL's team, the JL's Abubs, or Simon's team, the butt sniffers. But I still had to throw $10 at him because I think this is an impact player, and I'm just playing defense here. Basically, my strategy here is prevent anyone else. Either I also want to grab anyone I think can be an impact player. So I haven't put on bids on anybody. Mike White, it's super flex. If it wasn't super flex, there'd be no bid on him. Treylon Burks, I think, can be an impact player. I'm trying to stash him. I'm not trying to stash no Parris Campbell's on my team. If I'm 11-1, Parris Campbell's not cracking my lineup, but Treylon Burks might. We're looking for high upside, low floor, high upside plays because it's just bench stashes for my team.
I did a raspberry at you because you poo-pooed on the player I picked up, but you're 100% right, Coop, in what you're saying.
And I called
there.
your team butt sniffers.
And just correction for the record, we are the butt sniffies. JL is the butt sniffer. Our butt is being sniffed.
Apologies to everyone.
Have some respect.
Please make that correction on the official record.
Yeah. Keith, if you could scratch that. I wanted Treylon Burks very bad, but with only $17 to work with, I was pretty confident I wasn't going to be getting him. Though I guess I could have if I would have spent no money on anybody else and thrown all 17 that way. I could have gotten Treylon Burks. And maybe that should have been my strategy.
JL did the right thing here because he's 5-7. You two at 6-6, 5-7. You can't hold anything back now, right? It's like the water boy, dude. Can't hold anything back. You got to go all in here. JL needs to. He can't lose any games. You can't take that money with you. So I like JL spending up on Burks here, especially because he got him for a pretty reasonable price.
What do you think Najee would say if you looked him in the eyes and said, you got that dog in you so much that you're sniffing butts? Because like it is a compliment, but you also just said something really weird. Know what I mean? Like you're complimenting his game, but you also just said like the weirdest thing anyone said to him.
Dude, that's not even the weirdest thing I've heard from a football player this year. There was a football player that came out and said, "We just farting," and they were like, "What?" He goes, "We just farting. Y'all ain't even seen shit yet." I was like, that is it's kind of great, but also real weird.
We just
sounds like something we'd say.
We just farted. Guys, the next player on the waiver wire was wide receiver Jameson Williams of the Detroit Lions, rookie, coming back off of injury. I put in a $0 bid. JL also put in a $0 bid, and Coop with that $10. So Coop, Jameson Williams, adding him to your squad. Is this following the path that you've laid out for us previously of potential impact players? Upside.
You already know. I if I'm 11-1, unless I just had unless I had Cooper Kupp or something, I have my starting lineup. So I'm only going for high risk, high reward options, which, Jameson Williams is exactly that. I don't need to depend on him. So if you're 6-6, I could see you adding Parris Campbell because you're probably going to use Parris Campbell within the next couple of weeks, maybe. For me, I'm only looking for high risk, high reward, guys that can somehow crack my amazing 11-1 lineup. So give me a shot on a guy like Jameson Williams.
Or the risk isn't necessary, but you're willing to accept the risk for the high. Like you're not looking for high risk, high reward. You're looking for high reward, and you're fine taking the risk, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I just care about the rewards. I don't care about the risks.
Whereas like JL and I, we're less capable of taking on that risk right now because if it doesn't work out, maybe we get just.
If you're 5-7, Gus Edwards could potentially crack your lineup right away. If you're 11-1, you probably have better players. That's kind of the
probably. JL, no interest in Jameson Williams?
I have interest. I need a win right now, though. Jameson Williams is not going to play Week 13. Dan Campbell already came out and suggested that it's very unlikely Jameson Williams will make a return this week, and that a Week 14 return is more likely for Jameson Williams. And so this is more of a wait-and-see type of thing. Or not a wait-and-see type of thing. It's more of a I need a win right now type of thing. I got Treylon Burks. Jameson Williams would be great, but he's second priority for me.
Right. Treylon Burks you can use right away. For me, I'm at 11-1. I've probably clinched the playoffs. So coming back Week 14 sounds great to me. Sounds perfect.
Yeah, I don't really have the luxury to start stashing and hoping. I mean, I can if I have room, but I'm just assuming in this scenario I don't.
Your money needs to be allocated on more important things.
Next player we've got is Darius Slayton, wide receiver for the Giants. No bids put in on Darius Slayton, which he probably should be rostered. I'm thinking there's a couple players here. I was hoping to get some of these bigger names. I did not land them. Darius Slayton is worth rostering, but none of us added him to our teams. JL, was this just other players took priority over him?
Yeah, it was that I don't think Darius Slayton has the really like the upside to be a major impact. I think he's more of a wide receiver 3 flex type player that is going to have some high upside games, but isn't going to be really predictable as much. So I agree with you, Simon. He should be rostered. If this is a normal league, like I'd probably put a $0 bid on Darius Slayton. But for the purposes of this exercise, I did not put a bid in.
Also making splashes. You know what I mean, JL? Like you've already added Gus Edwards, you've added Traylon Burks. How many more guys can you drop from your bench too?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
you're in a position where I think you did just fine with what you've done so far.
Zay Jones is the next player up, wide receiver for the Jaguars. Coop and I both put in nothing. JL, $10 for Mr. Zay Jones. So you're feeling pretty bullish on Zay Jones.
Zay Jones has quietly just done it, man. He's quietly done it when he's on the field. He's looked very good. He's currently has 21.3% of the target share in this offense. In the last 3 games, that jumps up to 31.6% of the target share. This offense is starting to click. Trevor Lawrence is starting to get together. Doug Peterson, I mean, by everything I'm seeing, it looks like he knows what he's doing. So Zay Jones to me is a great ad. He's the wide receiver 2 on this team.
Yep.
Very clearly. Marvin Jones is not there.
That's the exact, if you're 5-7, that's the exact kind of move you got to make. You got to grab these guys that are hot right now, that are getting the targets right now, get him in your lineup, see if you can change things up, because what you were doing before, clearly not working so hot.
Right. And so I probably overpaid for him. $10 is probably a lot for Zay Jones, but I'm hoping for a second or late season surgence here from Zay Jones.
Got to fend
You
off
wanted to make
Simon.
sure you got him, and you got the money to do it with. You got the money to do it with. It's okay to overpay a little bit to make sure you get your guy, because nothing feels worse than trying to get cute and trying to be a little bit cheap and then not getting your guy when you could have had him, right? Like when you would have spent that amount. Is it worth the $6 you saved? No, probably not. Jordan Mason is the next player, running back for the 49ers. None of us put a bid in on Jordan Mason. Coop, no love for Mr. Mason, or just doesn't fit your team prototype?
I'll tell you what, with what I did here, I was basically just throwing $10 at high impact players. I personally don't believe many of the guys left on this wire are high impact. So you're not going to see me making moves on a lot of these guys. I want to, when I'm 11-1, and I say you can't take it with you when you're 5-7. At 11-1, I'm making sure I have at least $20 left to splash on defenses, kickers, down the stretch when it gets to the playoffs, and all of a sudden something happens and matchups change. Sometimes the backup quarterback comes in and now a defense becomes a real hot commodity to pick up. I want to make sure I have enough money to toss money on that defense down the stretch. So I've picked up my impact guys. I'm done, and I'm just going to sit tight with what I have and save that money for those moments.
Dave in here with a bonk. That's a hat trick bonk on a Tuesday morning. Yeah, none of us
Hat-trick
putting
bonk.
bids in right there. And also, Illmind Jedi came in here and said, my wife says it's funny when players say, I'm him at a wide receiver. She said they can't all be him. So really, who is him at wide receiver?
What does that mean?
There can be only one him. Guys, the next player on this waiver wire, not a wide receiver, it's a running back. Kyren Williams of the Los Angeles Chargers. I put in a bid of $2. JL, nothing, and Coop, nothing under there as well. So we got nothing for Coop, nothing for JL. And of the running backs here, I wanted Gus Edwards. That was my top choice at the running back position. But I'm fine getting Kyren Williams on this team. Coop, you talked earlier about the level of snaps that he was playing. There's an opportunity for him in this offense. And if I'm sitting at 6-6, he likely could be starting for me. So he's startable right now, and that opportunity share could grow. So I'm going to take Kyren Williams on my team. What do you guys think about Williams? Neither one of you put a bid in.
I like him. He played like 70% of the snaps. This is full PPR, and he plays the pass plays. So I like that move for either of your teams if you wanted to do it. I considered throwing something on him just to block you guys, but then I was thinking to myself, like, what if I do get Mike White? What if I do get Jameson Williams? And now I spend more money on this guy. Now I'm digging into that reserve pool that I had for my defenses and kickers and all the kind of tinkering moves I want to make down the way. So I decided not to put anything in on this guy, but I'm surprised JL didn't, because I know you're 5-7. You got moves to make. So JL, nothing at all on Kyren. You weren't feeling it?
No, I'm interested in Kyren Williams. This is a matter of liking some other options on this waiver wire. Kyren Williams, I think out of all of the running backs there in Los Angeles, he's the guy I'd be interested in. His next few games are looking really good. He's got Seattle, he's got the Raiders, and then Green Bay, all plus matchups for him. And so I think he's a great pickup. My focus was elsewhere though.
Yeah,
so I didn't pick him up. I didn't prioritize him this week. I would probably, if I had the room, I would certainly have put in a bid.
I mean, you've added 2 guys so far, was it?
I've added 3 guys: Zay Jones, Treylon Burks, and Gus.
So if you've added 3 now, yeah, you're getting kind of deep. You know, you'd be clearing the whole bench out to add these guys. You know, I don't know if you could do it. Yeah, so I think that's fair.
Sometimes you do a full bench overhaul. It happens from time to time.
I did it.
Week you just do it.
The last time we did this exercise, when my team was 4-7, that's what I did. I basically cleared my whole bench.
You got to do it sometimes. We got the next player, Benny Snell, running back for the Steelers. I put in 2 and Jalen Coop put in nothing. And I did this just in case. He's sitting down there. I think you can start him immediately. Najee Harris potentially could miss the rest of the season. And if he's going to be the guy, or if Jalen Warren is more hurt than they're letting on, this hamstring continues to linger, the Steelers running backs generally find fantasy success, whoever the lead guy is. So for $2 of my free agent budget, I'm perfectly happy with adding Benny Snell to the bench.
If I remember correctly from this hypothetical scenario that was made up on our behalf by Keith, that isn't actually real, you were the Simons butt sniffies were the Najee Harris owner, so you kind of had to make a move like this, right?
I had to make a move.
You had the you can move Najee to the IR, so you had the extra spot.
Absolutely. And then the reason I put a bid in on him but not on Jalen Warren was I can start Benny Snell right away if I need to. Benny Snell can go straight into my lineup. Next up, we've got Zonovan Knight, running back for the Jets. JL put in $3. Coop and I put in nothing. JL, you got a little bit of belief in Zonovan?
I do. Michael Carter dealing with an ankle injury. I don't think he is expected to be out long term, but if he's nursing that injury, we could see Zonovan Knight come in and fill in that role with Breece Hall being out. Zonovan Knight would be the next guy up. So I'm bullish on him. And he's kind of like the last name why I didn't put in bids on Kyren Williams and some of these other players is because I wanted to make sure I was able to get him, because I think he has the upside to, one, produce in the short term, but also if this injury lingers for Michael Carter, he could be the main guy here in the New York Jets offense. They're giving him some receiving work, which is great for PPR formats, which this is. So yeah, Zonovan Knight, $3, which I believe brings me down to $43 final budget here.
He was kind of a darling of the off-season dynasty community, the pre-draft dynasty community, right? Like people like the name was bouncing around, and he's got the size. He played at UNC, which is a school where that has been loaded the last couple of years. Well, yeah, sorry, it is a school, so he probably is pretty smart, right?
It's probably pretty smart.
But like there was some hype around him. Then he went undrafted, but I mean, why can't he be a guy? Donovan Peoples Knight.
Donovan Peoples Knight.
Let's go. People's chance.
This week, filling in from when Michael Carter went down with injury, he finished in half PPR as the running back 24 with 11.8 fantasy points, 14 attempts, 69 rushing yards for 4.9 a carry, at 3 targets, 3 receptions, 34 yards. So all that is promising in a very small sample size.
Got to shoot your shot. You're 5-7.
Got to.
Donovan Knight, welcome to JL's squad. The last player on this waiver wire simulator is JaMychal Hasty, running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And none of us put a bid in. I'm assuming with the news about Travis Etienne that he is A-OK, good to go. That's why no one put this bid in, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense. Well, Coop, you left this with $23 remaining like you said you wanted to, at least 20. But you also added some guys. You added Mike White in a Superflex league and Jameson Williams, some high upside players. John Luke, you started with 79. You're leaving with 43, so still got a chunk of that budget left. And you're leaving with Gus Edwards, Treylon Burks, Zay Jones, and Zonovan Knight getting added to your team. And then I am leaving with $11. I spent a grand total of $5, adding Parris Campbell, Kyren Williams, and Benny Snell to the squad. And I'm feeling pretty good about that for a team sitting there at 6-6. Those are the kind of players I want to be adding. Guys, coming up, we're going to be talking through some of the big performers from this week and letting you know whether they were a fact or a flash in the pan. And as always, if you've got questions for us, throw them in the chat or head on over to the BSN app and hit call in and come up here and ask us live. We would love to answer any and all questions you've got for us. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
There was a tweet about the refs that had me kind of cracking up the other day because somebody was like, we have the technology to track the ball down to a centimeter and figure out, what speed these guys are running on the field. Yet somehow we still mark the ball by
That's my favorite.
a 60-year-old dude eyeballing it. And then we run over with literal chains and measure it. It's like, you think we can probably get that figured out.
The least precise way to measure something and then immediately following that up with a super precise way of measuring something.
Yeah, it's like we have satellite.
Like if you're a millimeter short of that chain that they bring out there, that they ran out it as best they could in a straight line. But if you first they just go here, and then they grab the chains and they run in the straightest line possible. But then if you are 1 millimeter short with that football, doesn't count. Sorry. Couldn't have been human error. You're just short.
That's exactly. And, they bring out the index card or whatever. Meanwhile, they have satellites in space tracking how fast Brandon Ayuk ran on an end around. But we can't,
and I can see that number live while he's doing it. Like I can see every player's speed on the screen live.
I love that. It's and not to mention that dude's trying to make the spot and the player always tosses the ball right into his face. Right? He's coming over to spot it, and it's every other time the player just here you go. Here's another thing to juggle.
On call with Dr. Roto.
If the Giants don't win another game this year, A, I'll be shocked. But B, I'll still think that they're better than they were with Joe Judge. Much better. Because I think Brian Dable's got a lot out of this team already. And I'm seeing what this team could be. See, that's the problem with owners and general managers. I see Nathaniel Hackett and I see a guy who can't get it done. I see Matt Rule and see a guy who never should have been hired. Disaster right away. Sometimes a good coordinator in the NFL is better. I don't even say sometimes. Most of the time, a good coordinator in the NFL is better than a college coach because the NFL coordinators, they know the system. They've been there. They've played. They've been around it. For the life of me, I don't know why Eric Bieniemy hasn't gotten a job yet. Deuce Staley's going to get a job. Somebody's going to hire that dude. When you've been around the game, you understand it. These college guys come, they don't know it.
Join the show with one touch of a button. It's Sports Talk 3.0 on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We are about to get into a segment we call Fact or Flash. Fact or Flash, we're going to be running through players that blew up this week, had big performances, and letting you know whether you can count on this going forward. It's a fact, or if this was a flash in the pan, someone that you don't need to pay attention to so much. You guys ready to get into it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Quick check-in. How you guys doing? Doing all right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good.
Let's just see. Is the rest of the show, are you guys just going to answer yeah to everything?
Yeah.
I say? Yeah?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Factor Flash, first player we wanted to bring up here. Coop, you just added him in the waiver wire segment, is New York Jets quarterback Mike White. He had 315 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns this week. Is this a fact? Can we rely on him for fantasy football, or is this a flash, Coop?
Yeah.
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 Cool. Okay. The next player that we're talking about. I'm just kidding.
No. I will say, man, that he's got the weapons. And the crazy thing is, let's say hypothetically Mike White is the truth. Just imagine what things would look like next year, because they have all everyone that he played with last week is locked up for next year, essentially. And then they get back Breece Hall, Mekhi Becton, Elijah Vera Tucker. Could be pretty spicy over there in New York. The defense looks pretty good. So I don't know. It's intriguing to say the least. Will he be able to, no one's going to throw 3 touchdowns every week, but like I just kind of showed in that last segment, I'm willing to add him in Superflex or 2QB if he's out there. You got to add. There's only so many guys that are even capable, right? And you don't want to be starting Matt Ryan anymore. You don't want to be starting anybody on any of these backup Bears. I like him better than Sam Darnold. I like him better than a lot of guys. So I'm adding him. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think he's worth an ad. This offense has enough weapons, and Robert Saleh seems to know what he's doing. Mike White, I think he could return some nice short-term value here.
I'm going to go flash. I don't think you should go chasing these points with Mike White.
Oh.
I don't believe in the talent. We saw it fall apart last year after he came out and had that 5-touchdown game. I expect we see it fall apart again this year. I just don't think he's talented enough of a player to find sustained success in the NFL. And look at his upcoming matchups. It's not great for a couple weeks here. He's got the Vikings, then he's got the Bills. The next 2 weeks are great. Lions and Jaguars after that. But Vikings, Bills, you're not too thrilled about those matchups for Mike.
Let's say hypothetically, you're in a super flex league, right? You were able to add Mike White for $0 when he was announced as a starter. So you have him on your team. Would you start him over Matt Ryan this week 13?
I think I would. Yeah. And that's not to say that he's not startable. I'm just saying, like, I do think it's going to fall off. I don't think you're going to get 20 plus fantasy points from him every week.
Would you start him over Kenny Pickett?
That's close. I think I might roll Pickett, but man, the upside with Pickett is just so low that I think you plug Mike White in.
This past week,
QB6.
This last week, Mike White threw as many touchdowns as Kenny Pickett's thrown the entire season.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's got to be Mike White in that situation.
Would you start Mac Jones or Mike White?
Mike White.
Mac Jones.
See what I'm saying? It's kind of, would you start Bryce Perkins? No, right? Would you start Aaron Rodgers and or Jordan Love over Mike White?
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, if he plays, I'd start Mike White over Jordan Love.
Would you start Ryan Tannehill over Mike White?
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of.
You don't like Mike White, dude. Why don't you like Mike White? You don't like him at all.
QB6 this week.
He was QB6 this week. I like
300 yards.
I feel like a crazy person.
He threw for 300 million yards.
Am I the only person that remembers what happened with Mike White last year? Like, he did the same thing. He came in and threw 5 touchdown passes and then sucked. Like
that was
that's
last year.
Right. I'm just saying, we've seen that this dude can do it. He did it against a pretty crappy defense, and now he's going to play the Vikings and the Bills 2 weeks in a row. I'm just saying, express caution throwing Mike White back in their lineups.
Against the QB?
The last time he played, no, Mac Jones just threw for 382 yards against.
You're right.
Buffalo for sure, though.
The last time Mike White played Buffalo, he threw 0 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, and that was the last game that Mike White was allowed to play football.
That was against Buffalo.
So yeah, maybe not. But this week, I mean, would you start Jared Goff or Mike White?
Who do the Lions have?
Jacksonville.
I'll start Jared Goff.
Mariota, Mike White. Like, there's a lot. There's some questions in there.
I know Mike White.
I think I'm starting, but then after that, I'm starting Jimmy G. I'm starting Kirk. I'm starting Carr. So he doesn't make it a discussion up in that. He's not anywhere near the top 15. But I mean, in Superflex and 2QB, I think he's viable in the short term.
Lucius coming in here with a question for us, a super chat. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you, Lucius. We appreciate you, bro.
Get the super chats on.
Said I need to drop a tight end between Hayden Hurst, Foster Moreau, and Cole Kmet. So we've seen a similar question to this. Coop, which one of those tight ends are you dropping, Hurst, Moreau, or Kmet?
That's a difficult question. And the problem with that question is that, like, if you drop Cole Kmet, there's a very real possibility that when Jamar Chase and Darren Waller come back, you don't really even have a viable upside option. So I'm dropping one of Hurst or Moreau, and I'm probably just dropping Foster Moreau, man. He just
yesterday it's Morrow.
Morrow, yeah.
Foster Morrow.
Yeah. See you tomorrow.
I was listening.
Foster.
Later. Oh, tomorrow. That's a good way to remember it.
Later, dude. You're chasing touchdowns. Guys, like we said, never had 67 yards in a game. He's just never had more than 67 yards. He's just not appealing to me, man. Not appealing. You're never going to get a better matchup than the one he just had versus Seahawks. He had 3 catches.
Unless he plays Arizona, which he doesn't play Arizona again.
I thought you were about to say, which he does in week 3. Nope.
Just start Hayden Hurst and hope that Cole Kmet played every single snap this week, and he only blocked on 2 pass plays. He's still getting the usage. You just are hoping that the quarterback does anything. But now with Darnell Mooney out, I mean, ball's got to go somewhere.
Hey,
yeah,
be careful with that.
I know that's just Simon. I knew you were going to say something. I think Foster Morrow is the guy I'd be dropping here. Coop's right. You're chasing touchdowns. That's why he did so well this past week. Look at his game logs rest of the season. He's been healthy all season. Just has not made it work. I know Darren Waller was playing in the beginning of the season, but even so, since then, they haven't done it.
He's
and
played
that offense is
20
not
games with no Darren.
Jail. You were so respectful in making sure you said his name right as you punted him off your roster.
Yeah,
as
I absolutely disrespected him.
Foster Morrow, see ya! Just
You
dropping him right off the roster.
Well, it's not just us, because Lucius also spelled Hayden Hurst's name wrong. So it's not just us messing these guys' names up.
Yeah, I'm dropping Foster Moreau, but I think Hayden Hurst is droppable as well. Doesn't inspire too much confidence. The next player, Mike White. It sounds like you guys are maybe more on the fact side. I'm a little bit more on the flash side, but I think our opinion on him is probably relatively similar. I'm just nervous about the wheels falling off.
It's a fact with an asterisk. It's fact with an asterisk for sure.
Fact with an asterisk. JaMychal Hasty is the next player. Jacksonville Jaguars running back. With Travis Etienne exiting the game, he had 12 rushes, 28 rushing yards, then 5 receptions, 67 receiving yards, and a receiving touchdown.
Should we all do this together?
Yeah, JL, you can speak for us.
2,
three.
Flash.
Woo, we did it.
We were so in sync right there.
We did
That's
Coop
always
just
a good
mouthed
one.
it. Coop did the happy birthday, pretending to sing the happy birthday in the big group.
How old are you now?
Cha cha cha.
But let's do quick hypothetical. If Travis Etienne were out for the year, which we now know he's probably going to be back this week, would you be interested in it at all? Even then,
absolutely, I would be
100%.
interested. Yeah. The main running back on this Jacksonville offense, it's enticing. Listen to this this schedule here. The next, just rest of the season for Jacksonville: Detroit, Tennessee, Dallas, Jets, Houston, and then if you are a poor soul who plays on week 18, Tennessee. Like, what a great rest of season schedule for this Jacksonville Jaguars team.
Houston in the championship week.
Houston in the championship.
Oh.
Travis Etienne, baby, about to win some people some championships.
He's going to be a league winning player.
Knock on wood that he does not get hurt, please.
God. But yeah, I think we're all in agreement. If Travis Etienne was out rest of the year, this would maybe be closer to fact, but he's just not going to see this workload with Travis Etienne healthy, right?
Right.
No way he gets this opportunity. Next up is Zonovan Knight, running back for the New York Jets. He had 14 rushes, 69 rushing yards, and 3 catches to add 34 receiving yards as well. And I'm not convinced that we're going to see this workload continue, even with Michael Carter potentially missing time. The Jets were up pretty big in this game against the Bears, and Michael Carter out. I think they wanted to see what they had in this rookie, Zonovan Knight, who hasn't gotten much work throughout the rest of the season. They gave him the work. They're all right with it, but I imagine a more even split between him and Ty Johnson going forward, with Ty Johnson being the lead back there. So I'm going to say flash for Zonovan Knight. I think this was a team with a big lead, seeing what they got in their rookie out there. Maybe they're a little bit more aware of what they have in Ty Johnson. What do you guys think?
I think, if anything, maybe Zonovan Knight can be the early down back with Ty Johnson as the pass down back, but Ty Johnson is at least going to mix in on pass downs because we know he's capable in that capacity. So, yeah, I don't know.
John Luke, factor flash.
In just this past game, which, again, very small sample, you have to take this with a grain of salt. It's just one single observation, one game. We saw Zonovan Knight get 48% of the snaps, 11% of the team targets, 28% of the work percentage or the workload here. Out of the running backs, 56% of the running back attempts, 45% of the running back yards, and then 43% of the running back targets. So I think Simon, what you're saying definitely has some weight to it. I would say Zonovan Knight is he's a potential fact, but he's a flash for now, given that Michael Carter likely plays this upcoming week. And so as long as Michael Carter's in, I don't think Zonovan Knight is going to be a major factor at all.
The People's Knight. I think he could be
Zonovan People's Knight.
Zonovan People's Knight, dude. The People's Knight. The People's King. I think he could be. He could be. So that I think it's worth adding just to see, because what if Ty Johnson is just a guy who comes out and runs like 10 to 15 routes, but doesn't really get any carries? We've seen a ton of teams do that, where that's how they split it up. One guy's the starter and gets the bulk of the work, and the other guy just comes in for pass plays. I could easily see that, but Ty Johnson ran 9 routes. Zonovan Knight ran 8. So it's right there. It's possible.
It's right there.
It's entirely possible.
Entirely possible. The next player, guys, Latavius Murray, running back for the Denver Broncos. He's had a couple good weeks in a row now. This week, 13 rushes, 92 rushing yards, pretty efficient on the ground. And then the week before, RB12. So this is 2 pretty good performances in a row. Jay, are you buying into Latavius Murray with Melvin Gordon off this team? Fact or flash?
Yeah, I think he's fact. He is the guy there. Them getting rid of Melvin Gordon was kind of a big signal, right? That they're confident enough in him. And I think this Broncos team is just like, they're going to have to rely on the run because their offense isn't moving. I think this is a lost season for them, and they're just going to kind of hobble through and figure out how to turn the ship around next season.
Fact. Agreed. They've cut everybody, put everyone else on IR. He played 49 snaps. Marlon Mack played 6. Divine Ozigbo played 4. So he basically was just the dude. Give me those guys. There's only so many of those guys out there.
Yeah, he's 87% of their running back attempts percentage.
So he's basically Saquon Barkley.
I remember when they signed him, I said out loud, they're not just going to sign someone off the street and make them their lead back. And
exactly
here we
what
are.
they did.
Like that is
exactly
fully what even with Melvin Gordon on the team, they did that. And now we're just sitting here looking at Latavius Murray signed off of a practice squad is the lead running back for the Denver Broncos. When they started with Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, and Latavius Murray is now the lead.
It seems like only certain guys are capable of that. Like Carlos Hyde used to do that too, where he would get signed.
Oh my gosh.
Mark Ingram, he gets signed and then he'd play 70% of the snaps. Just like, are these guys like playbook wizards or something? How are they picking up these playbooks and just ready to rock?
I mean, think about it. Well, running backs definitely is a little easier, right, for them to just kind of come in and be a factor. It is surprising that they then got rid of Melvin Gordon, who would presumably know the playbook pretty well. But honestly, I think this team is like, I can't imagine that their playbook is like that built out. You have a new young coach, Nathaniel Hackett. You got Russell Wilson calling Seahawks audibles. I don't know that it's as much of a factor here. And like, wouldn't you do something like this, right? You're 3-8. Your season's pretty much lost. Get a guy like Latavius Murray and just run the offense through him, right? Like,
make your game shorter by running the ball with him every single play. Just like, let's get out of here.
Javonte Williams is out. You don't have to worry about that. Like, use Latavius Murray, the guy you just signed off the street, and he's good enough and he's making it work.
Latavius Murray asked Albert Akwe-Bunum about the playbook, and Albert's like,
shit, man.
I've been asking that same question, man.
Nobody look at me and walk away.
Hackett keeps handing me different takeout menus every time I ask him for the playbook. I've got like 14 of them, but there's like random things circled on there with like arrows like here. And I'm not sure what to do with it. Remember, Kung Pao chicken.
Left of the Peking duck.
As soon as you said takeout menu, I was also thinking Chinese food.
Because that's the only like takeout place where I have physical menus for in my house right now. No, like
I show up in the mailbox.
And then you keep them because you're like, ooh, that looks good. Maybe I will order that later. Tuck it away. Oh man.
Anyone that like puts those little paper advertisements on my door or stuff like that, I vow to never ever give them my business. It's like the worst marketing technique for me because I'm like, wow, you instantly make a non-customer by doing that.
Making a mess. But at the same time, the only exception for me would be Chinese food because I'm like, all right, I'll take a look. It's the same food as every other one, but I'm like,
it's every other one. Yeah.
I gotta try it. I like trying different Chinese.
The American Chinese food,
the best.
I'll randomly get ones on my fence that'll be like, planning on trick or treating. God hates you, sinner. Like it'll just like it'll like be innocuous, and then it's just this like propaganda
It just
saying that
comes in so hard.
it comes in so hot. Strong Style Ninja in here. What's up, Strong Style? Said to go menus
Strong Style.
must. You need a Chinese food place, a pizza place, and a sushi place as the must for takeout menus.
Couple places in Baltimore, it's like it'll just be like a Asian food umbrella. It'll be like Chinese, Japanese. I also have some Thai, and those places I don't trust. I'm like,
I don't trust that, dude.
You're doing too much.
You're doing doing way too much.
What about when we were in Detroit? And if you guys live in Detroit and you can give us some clarity on what was going on here, you go on to Uber Eats after like 11 p.m. The only place open are called Coney Islands. And I could not, by looking at the menus, it provided no clarity to what was going on at those places. You could get spaghetti. You could get meatloaf. You could get a burger. Okay, there were hot dogs on the menu, but there were also like
gyros,
falafel, gyros. Yeah. Like it was all over the place. You could get a sushi plate with a side of sweet potato fries and fried chicken. Like you could get everything at these places, but none of it looked good. Everything looked disgusting.
Detroit's food situation, y'all got to figure that thing. I guess Baltimore too. We don't have the best food situation either,
guys. So I guess that is a fact for Mr. Latavius Murray. I'm with you guys. Getting that amount of work, he's got to be a fact. The next player, AJ Dillon, someone that we have been waiting for a good game from. It feels like all season. He had 8 rushes for 64 yards and a touchdown, then added 24 yards through the air on 3 catches. Is this performance fact or flash for AJ Dillon?
Flash, trash. Give me one game where he gets more carries than Aaron Jones, and then we can start talking about that, because that was supposed to be the deal. That's what we were promised by the internet all offseason, that AJ Dillon.
The
internet promised us, dude, that AJ Dillon would at the very least get all the goal line work, but he would, get more carries, and Aaron Jones would skew more pass catching, and Aaron Jones would be like Kareem Hunt, and AJ Dillon would be Nick Chubb. And it turns out that Aaron Jones is still Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon is still the backup running back. So until I see a split, until they come out and actually do the split that we thought they were going to do, then I can't trust the guy. Right, so
out of 12 weeks, how many RB2 or better weeks do you think AJ Dillon has had this season? So RB24 or better in PPR?
RB12 or better, 2?
No, RB24 or better. So how many top 24 RB2 weeks has he had?
Maybe 3.
2?
Exactly 3. It is. He was RB9 in week 1, so came out, looked hot. Then in week 6, RB22, and this past week, RB13. It is ugly outside of that. We're talking multiple outside of the top 45, outside the top 50. It has not been pretty for Aaron Jones. Coop, I'm with you. This is flash. This offense isn't good enough to support Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, and they're not using them the way we thought they were going to.
So that's what it is. Like, if this team was a lot better than Aaron Jones, then AJ Dillon, I mean, he's at least getting, when they get inside the 5-yard line, he's getting the carries, but they've only had 5 carries inside the 5-yard line all season. AJ Dillon has 4, Aaron Jones has 1. But there are some like Jamal Williams has 18 carries inside the 5-yard line this year.
On the Lions.
So if they were making it happen like that, then then there would be a place for that kind of guy. But they really aren't. It seems like Aaron Rodgers just wants to throw in all situations.
Yeah, I think they're using him exactly, at least how I was expecting coming in the season. He's got 48% snap share. He's getting 44% of the running back attempts, which is about a 60-40 split, which is kind of what I was expecting coming in the season. Aaron Jones still to be that guy. And I think you guys hit the nail on the head. It's this offense. It's just not moving enough to support 2 of these guys. And so I'm with you guys. Flash. I don't think he can be a running back 1 like he was this past season going forward. Simon frozen? Must be.
He looks pretty frozen. Otherwise,
he looks pretty frozen.
Really
all right.
Impressive frozen man. So
very, very impressive.
Take the lead, JL.
We can move on to our next player here. We got moving on from AJ Dillon. I believe we were unanimous flash. Before we do that though, Strong Style Ninja had a question. He said, how Jones doesn't get the red zone touches is mind-boggling. Dillon gets stuffed within the red zone. Whoops, that wasn't a question. That was just a statement. Good statement.
Yeah. But it's true though. It is true. It's like, I think once you get the mindset of like, well, and the difference is Strong Style Ninja is that we only see on Sunday. So we've only seen the 4 times that it's happened, but they've been practicing all year, every week. They've probably seen a big enough sample size of both these players to believe in AJ Dillon. That's the part we forget, is that we only get to see the tip of the iceberg on Sunday. These guys, it's like when people say, "Oh, this guy can't catch," because he dropped, 7 of his 80 targets on Sunday. Well, these guys are catching. Some of these guys, like Amon-Ra St. Brown, catches 100 balls from the jug machine every single day. So you're getting a much bigger sample size in practice of whether these guys can catch or not. The guys who truly can't catch don't even make it to Sunday. So you got to keep that in mind. The decision on who gets those plays was made way before Sunday.
Yeah. Welcome. Oh, he's gone.
And
he's gone. Let's move on to our next player here, Coop. The next player on our list here is Zay Jones, wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Nailed it.
Jaguars. Can't say it right. Jaguars. How do you say it, Coop?
Yeah. How do they say it with the
Jaguars.
the British car? They're like Jaguar.
Jaguar. Oh yeah, I think they do that.
When you have the prestige and luxury of driving a Jaguar,
can please get in my Jaguar?
I think you just say Jags.
Jags.
The Jacksonville Jags. Keith coming in saying Jaguar.
Jaguar. Well, Zay Jones this past week, he was finishes the wide receiver 5.5 PPR format, 22 fantasy points. 22 fantasy points is 14 targets, 11 receptions, 145 yards. Good day for Zay Jones. What do you guys think? Is this fact or flash?
I'm on the fact wagon on this one, and it's sad for me to say it, but in the offseason, the reason I was touting Evan Engram, and the reason I was telling everyone to kind of take stabs at all of these Jaguars, including Marvin Jones, Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, any of them in like best ball leagues, is that we didn't know who was going to be a focal point of this offense, who was going to be a top target on the team. Evan Engram had a little stretch there before he hurt his back, but this week he wasn't involved. Zay Jones and Christian Kirk, highly consolidated targets among those two guys. That is huge in fantasy football. So if I can grab Zay Jones in any formats where I'm hurting a wide receiver, I will. And I think, if he played 57 snaps, just like Christian Kirk, ran 41 routes. Christian Kirk ran 42. Next highest was Evan Engram with 34. Those two guys are clearly the top dogs there. So I'm interested. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's fact. And JL, your bid in that waiver wire segment showed that you think it's fact as well, right? Like this dude, he's getting the targets. You can't ignore that.
Yeah, we I brought up the rest of season schedule for Jacksonville. It's beautiful. So Zay Jones also gets that schedule along with the rest of his team. So that's positive. Very positive. Yeah.
It's incredible how that works, isn't it?
Yeah.
They all get the same matchups every single week. Zay Jones sounds like it's a fact from all of us. The next player is Garrett Wilson, wide receiver for the New York Jets. 5 receptions, 95 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns. Coop, you were talking praises about him a little bit earlier. Said you voted him in the poll that we had in the chat. So is this a fact for you about Garrett Wilson? Is he the truth?
I love how we sat there and we're like, this isn't that good of a waiver week. And then every single waiver wire option, we're like, fact, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's amazing.
But he's so good. But I got to say fact again on this player. Last week, he played every single snap, right? But then I sat there on Sunday morning and I was like, well, if you have other options, this is a backup quarterback and it's raining out against the Bears, low over under game. I would steer away from him if you could. Turns out that was a mistake because Garrett Wilson with Mike White was even better than he was before with Zach Wilson. He ran 28 of 30 routes, clearly led that team in routes run. No one else ran more than 23. So they're looking at it right now, like the wide receiver coach is looking at it and saying, okay, this is the top wide receiver on the team. This guy is the guy who's going to play every play. And then we'll figure out how to work in the rest of you guys around him. Those are the guys I want on my team. So if I can go out and get Garrett Wilson right now, while, he's got this connection with Mike White, he might be my top waiver ad this week. I don't know about you guys. So I'm throwing the fact on there. And, he's also a rookie. So shiny, exciting.
Joe, you agreeing with Coop here?
Yeah, absolutely. This is exactly what you want to see. This progression for Garrett Wilson throughout the season is he's just fallen into just like the best or like prototypical ideal season for rookie wide receivers. He's talented, and I expect him to continue being talented going forward. So yeah, total fact.
Does Mike White being the quarterback elevate or lower him for you rest of season for fantasy?
Neutral.
Agreed.
Neutral.
Yeah.
Man, all that love for Mike White, but it's not better for him than Zach Wilson was, because the offense did look better with Mike White in there.
Maybe mildly, but like it's not like a Jalen Hurts to Gardner Minshew change where you're changing the type of quarterback and now all of a sudden different routes are in play. I think these guys do very similar things. So I like Simon said, it's kind of a lateral change. Maybe lateral slightly up if he plays better, but
great point, Simon.
They do the same thing.
Guys, today, before we hit this next one, I want to let everyone know about something cool coming up on BSN this afternoon. Scott Rogowski, the former host of HQ Trivia and now runs Quiz Daddy's Closet, is going to be appearing on Corey, Nando, and Friends this Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Scott Daddy, Quiz Daddy himself, is showing up on their show.
We were just talking about that guy.
Yeah. And we were just talking about it, but he now runs Quiz Daddy's Closet, a shop in Santa Monica, California, spelling vintage sports t-shirts, hats, and pennants. He's going to talk collectibles and more. So you guys are not going to want to miss the Quiz Daddy himself talking about some of his HQ experiences and his foray into the collectibles industry.
I bet he's got some cool stuff, man.
I bet he does. Jay wants to know, is Quiz Daddy related to Trade Daddy? We'll have to ask him. Corey Nando and Friends, 4 p.m. Get in there. Ask him himself if he's related to Trade Daddy.
The Daddy Sphere.
The Daddy Sphere. Zah came in here with a question for us. Wants to know, would you rather have Barkley or Kenneth Walker rest of season? Can't have both. So Saquon Barkley or Kenneth Walker rest of season. Coop, which one would you be rolling with?
That's a tough question. I think I'm still going with Saquon. Yeah. Call back. That's a perfect question to call in at 3. Ask Nando and the Quiz Daddy. Now, we can answer that one. For me, Saquon Barkley. There's no one is getting a higher percentage of the snaps than Saquon Barkley is. The offense runs through him. I'm willing to take the lumps when he has a tough game, but give me the usage. That's the most important thing for me. So I think I want Barkley here, but I would respect a Kenneth Walker answer because he's been scoring. It's like the two opposites where it's like Saquon is putting up these games and then the touchdowns get stolen by like Daniel Jones and Matt Breida. And then Kenneth Walker is he's not really doing a whole lot besides plunging in touchdowns, right?
Right.
But
yeah, I'm with you, Coop. I'm with you. That's I'm going Saquon Barkley as well. I mean, Kenneth Walker is not immune to dud games either. I think this week it was on the Kenneth Walker side. Saquon Barkley didn't have as good of a week, but look at their game logs. They're fairly similar. I think Saquon Barkley has the upside though. I think he has performed better consistently, and I think he's the more talented player here.
Yeah, it's gonna be Saquon Barkley for me as well. And I know this past couple weeks have been somewhat disappointing, but over the course of the season, you've been so thrilled to start Saquon Barkley week in, week out. I think his upside on any given week is higher than Kenneth Walker's, and they got similar floors. So I'm gonna roll Saquon out there week in, week out. There's hardly that many running backs that you want over Saquon Barkley rest of the season. Like
or Kenneth
same
Walker.
with Kenneth Walker. Like this question is you're asking about two of the best
Tough
guys.
question.
So in reality, you're thrilled with both of them, but give me Barkley rest of the season.
I will say in Dynasty, if you were able to get one of those picks where you get Breece Hall or Kenneth Walker, feel pretty happy about it because that's always a nervous moment when your team stinks and you end up with a really good pick and you're like, wow, if I whiff on this pick, my team is going to stink forever. So you got to be happy if you got Breece Hall or Kenneth Walker there.
Zah came in, follow-up saying, somebody wants one of my starting running backs. He's got Austin Eckler, Saquon Barkley, and Josh Jacobs. Nice job, my man. Said I was going to trade Saquon Barkley and Schultz for Kenneth Walker and Amari Cooper. My wide receivers are Mike Williams, T. Higgins, and Gabe Davis. So I guess what that would really be doing is I'm imagining you're starting Jacobs in your flex right now. So you would go from starting Eckler, Barkley, Jacobs to starting Eckler, Jacobs, Cooper, right? You would be taking Saquon Barkley out of your lineup, putting Cooper in there, or Kenneth Walker. Man,
yeah,
I don't know.
I like that trade. I view Kenneth Walker, Saquon Barkley is close enough in trade value, like slight edge Saquon, but they're either close, probably same tier. And
What he's doing is starting Amari Cooper over
Mike Williams.
Wide receiver, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Right. And so this gives you some wide receiver depth, which looks like you need. Mike Williams being injured. Gabe Davis is, hit or miss.
Who are you going to start at tight end?
I'd make the trade. Yeah, the tight end is going to make the difference here. If you don't have somebody to back up Schultz here, going from Schultz to Cooper, upgrade. Big upgrade.
Who's going to be your tight end? Because you're trading Schultz away.
Yeah.
Like if you're getting back Cole Kmet, I don't know if I like that. Though Schultz scored 2 touchdowns this week. Quietly, though, he blocked on 10 pass plays. That's like 30%. It's not usual for him. I don't know if I doubt that'll continue at that level, but nah, dude, you're gonna start Foster Moreau as your tight end. I think I would just stick with what you have. Like, I don't
looking at this.
I think Dalton Schultz is a bigger upgrade over the Vegas situation than Amari Cooper over Gabe Davis. Because when Mike Williams is back, that's the question, right? You got to start Amari over Gabe Davis. How much better is Amari than Gabe Davis?
I think a lot. I think a lot better than Gabe Davis.
Yeah.
Gabe Davis is very hit or miss. Amari Cooper's a wide receiver 1. Like that's just what he's been this entire year, is a wide receiver 1. And he's got Deshaun Watson coming back now. So I am very high on Amari Cooper rest of season. So I think that's going to be what does it for me here. He's the wide receiver 8 in PPR on the season. Like, we're not talking about a guy that's having some good games. He's been consistently great this year.
The Raiders played 5 quarters of football and scored 40 points against the worst tight end defense in the league, and Foster Moreau caught 3 passes.
Yeah, not great. But if there's a Logan Thomas on the waiver wire or something along those lines, I can piece together tight end. Dalton Schultz. So I guess maybe you're as high as I am on Amari Cooper. You may be higher on Dalton Schultz than I am rest of the season.
Well, Dalton Schultz, how far ahead of Foster Moreau is Dalton Schultz? Way
considerably.
Amari Cooper is ahead of Gabe Davis, but is he a Dalton Schultz from Foster Moreau ahead? That's kind of where we're at. It sounds like he's got Darren Waller hidden in, because he says Vegas tight end, which implies he has Darren Waller stashed on an IR spot.
Yeah, potentially. John Luke, I think we're kind of split on this one. Which way are you rolling? Are you on that Amari Cooper side?
This is tough. I wish you had a better tight end, but I think I would go on the Amari side. Given your wide receivers, you need depth. So I think it's a good move. And I do think Amari Cooper is going to shoot up in value with Deshaun Watson coming back.
Yeah. If it's just Foster Moreau, though, I get the reservations in making that move. It does hurt that tight end position for you. But I view Amari Cooper as just such a massive upgrade that I think I'm doing that.
If you have Waller, make the trade. Get crazy. Go wild. Do it.
Get crazy. Guys, the next player I wanted to bring up, Isaiah McKenzie, Buffalo Bills wide receiver. He had 6 receptions for 96 yards and a touchdown. John Luke, factor flash for Isaiah McKenzie on the Buffalo Bills.
Isaiah McKenzie is a flash. We've seen this all season. He gets used randomly in games. He'll get that touchdown. I don't think that he is consistent enough, and I don't think that he is good enough to really command a consistent role in this high-powered offense. Really, him being in the high-powered offense is what's giving him some buoyancy here. So I'm gonna go flash.
Agreed. He's the guy that he doesn't play a full snap share. He needs them to throw 55 times like they did this week to have a good game. So I'm not chasing guys that don't play the full game. Give me Zay Jones.
Yeah.
He played every snap.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. It's going to be flash for me as well. We have seen him do it a couple times this year, but it's not going to be any level of consistency that you can predict from Isaiah McKenzie. Flash. And then there's the potential of Odell Beckham possibly being added to this team, right? Just to make it even murkier. It's already a flash for me. And then we may get an additional wide receiver thrown into this mix. What about Mr. DeAndre Carter, wide receiver for the Los Angeles Chargers? He had 7 receptions for 73 yards and a touchdown. Coop, factor flash for DeAndre Carter.
Flash, man. Flash. When all is said and done, he's going to be just returning kicks and punts, which is a very valuable and important role on the team. But it's supposed to be Keenan Allen, Josh Palmer, Mike Williams, and that's gonna happen during your fantasy football playoffs when it matters most.
John Luke, you agreeing here on DeAndre Carter?
Yeah, I am.
Good football player. Good football player, but the things he's good at don't matter as much in fantasy football.
What is the most recent update from Mike Williams? Are we seeing any updates? I saw potentially 2 to 3 weeks right after the injury, but I haven't seen much news since then. on when he's expected to be back. Have you guys seen anything? Because I saw 2 to 3 weeks, then it's just been pretty quiet about his recovery process, which maybe is a good thing, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I haven't seen any new updates. We'll have to keep an eye out for it this week and see if we get a timeline. But right now, I don't think there's a firm timeline on his return.
Last time before the game, he said he felt 200%, and then he rolled his ankle in the first play. Like Williams is just difficult, but he's difficult to trust, man.
Also, Za coming in here with the updates saying, love asking y'all tough questions. We love the tough questions.
That's a tough one, man.
Said I was going to scrap tight end to be set at wide receiver if Mike doesn't come back, and boom. Logan Thomas, Darren Waller, and Tyler Conklin are still on the waiver wire as well. So does that change your answer at all, Coop? Would any of those guys, so maybe picking up Waller would fix that for you and rolling with Moreau or Waller?
Yeah. I like that. If you can just go Moreau, Waller, try to scrape by Logan Thomas. I don't like Tyler Conklin, so I wouldn't go there, but Logan Thomas maybe. I'll consider it. And I got another one, Fantasy Nav, Eric in the chat, scraping the bottom of the barrel at tight end, Woods, McBride, or Bellinger. I still like Trey McBride. I still like Trey McBride for the time being, but
what if Bellinger had both of his eyes in his head? Would you pick him?
If Bellinger starts seeing one football when they throw it to him, then I definitely consider him. But until he actually gets back on the field, it's tough.
Bellinger picked the one eye option from that hypothetically earlier. He said, give me the one eye. He said, I'll keep my arms and legs. I'm taking one eye.
So messed up.
Guys, the next player I wanted to bring up, Juwan Jennings, wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers. He had 6 receptions, 49 receiving yards, and a touchdown this past week. John Luke, is this factor flash for Juwan Jennings?
Juwan Jennings is he's a flash. He's a flash, man. Like, if we look at it, like his entire game logs usage this past season, he's been really nothing. 7. This is his first game above 6 targets since week 1. The rest of the season, he's been between 2 and 4 targets pretty much consistently. So I like the team he's on. I don't think he's going to be a consistent part of the offense. I think this game went his way.
Right, exactly. He's the Isaiah McKenzie of this offense, even though he plays even less. As crazy as it sounds, what he needs a Kyle Juszczyk injury, because every time you bring in the fullback, you're not taking out the running back, you're not taking out the tight end George Kittle, you're taking out one of the third wide receiver. And Kyle Juszczyk played 30 of 70 snaps. Juwan Jennings played 29 of 70 snaps. So maybe if Juszczyk wasn't out there, then he would get all those snaps and play, 50 or 60 of 70. But 29 of 70 snaps, can't start that guy. Can't do it.
No, I'm with you guys. You can't plug him in there. He's not getting the snaps. And Coop, you always say first come the snaps,
then come the targets, then come the khakis, then come the girls.
Then come the girls. He hasn't even gotten to the khakis yet. Guys, everyone in the chat who came and hung out with us this morning, thank you so much. We will be back tomorrow morning from 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern time for some more of the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. But until then, make sure you're sticking around here on BSN. Right after this, we've got Moose and Keith, followed by Lunch Money presented by Fantasy Guru. And then after that, we've got Corey, Nando, and friends with Quiz Daddy himself, Scott Rogowski, coming on. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, everyone, and we will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Adios.
Bye-bye.